Welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you. And let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch us, even though you missed the live party. Guys, that is the best part. So make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and just like right now, sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus party ever again. Guys, we are on the road to 5K, so please do hit that subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to TheIndianJesus.com for your very own official Indian Jesus merch. We even got skateboards only at TheIndianJesus.com. Guys, we do also have a Discord server that is absolutely free to join 24/7. We are in there hanging out, having a great time, and it is a great place to meet people and have interesting conversations. And like I said, it is absolutely free to join. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, then you can scroll right below. Well, you don't have to be a member, but if you scroll below the video to become a member, there's a few different tiers here, but it starts at just $2.99 a month. Gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it also opens up the full Discord server, guys. We have more than one channel, and we do have free stuff there for everybody. But if you are a member of the channel, it opens up the full thing, including our voice channel, which after every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday stream, we go over there for an after party where we don't have to worry about any YouTube censors, and you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. Let's do it. Shout out to King Nirvana. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. So yes, yesterday we had started on the Trump JRE episode. Very iconic, shall we say. But of course, we were not going to be able to get through the entire thing unless we rushed. And I don't want to rush. I want to take our time, do our thing. So we are here for part 2. If you did not see part 1, that is totally fine. It is still up. You can definitely go check that out on your own time. This is, they're going to be referencing stuff from before, but they do jump from topic to topic. So you will very much have a good time. So let's do it. As always, guys, if you can, any of the video, please do let me know. What else? What else would it be? Do you have an alternate explanation? God damn it. Okay. Hold on. Take 2. Okay.
Or last, after everything's done. You take them out last, sir.
Okay, yeah. They're talking about Afghanistan.
Should have all been fired. Then they'd be writing books about him, how stupid he was, how bad he was. But you take your soldiers out last. I had a big rally, and I saw a child in the front row about a year and a half ago, and I called the child up. I said, "Do you mind if I borrow your child?" "Oh, yes, please." And they came up. Kids fight.
Shout out to Aim. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. We had left up. They are talking about the Afghanistan withdrawal.
I gave them quick details, I said, "We want to get out of this place. And we have this, and we have this, and we have the equipment." I gave them a little thing. I said, "Do you take your soldiers out first or last after everything's done?" "You take them out last, sir." A child would know that. We took our soldiers out first.
What was your plan?
And we left a bag room.
Well, not
a child, a 5-year-old child is literally smarter than not only just Biden, which, is, but the entire administration. The entire administration.
only that, we left billions of dollars worth of equipment and military vehicles that they use for parades now.
The best equipment, to embarrass us, the best equipment in the world.
The Taliban parade where they've got tanks rolling down the streets and Blackhawks flying is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
We left
all
the
that
best
stuff there.
equipment in the world behind.
What would you have done differently?
Well,
take your time. That's what he would have done. Take your time. And as we just went over, take the soldiers out last.
One, we would have taken it out. Just so you just go back a little bit further.
We got Morty,
I
our
had a couple of
co-host.
conversations with Abdul.
And guys, remember that we got our boy Morty here, and every single donation comes with a treat for him, no matter the price. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He loves them.
And from the time I had those conversations, because they were shooting our soldiers, with the sniper stuff, they were shooting a lot of them. They were shooting a lot with Obama, much less with me, but they were shooting them. And I said, get this guy on the phone. The press went nuts when they heard this. I had a great conversation with him. It was a tough conversation. 18 months later, there wasn't one soldier that was ever shot at. And even Biden admitted it in a moment of stupidity because he shouldn't admit it. His people went nuts. He said, yeah, well, I will admit no soldier. We didn't have a soldier killed in 18 months in Afghanistan. Not one soldier was killed because he understood what was going to happen if that happened. Yeah,
Destiny will be like, well, I mean, there was wars under Trump. Like, okay, if that's the argument you want to have, dude. King said they know the best way to do things. They just don't give a shit. You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right, sir.
I didn't have one. So then when I left, after having gotten more votes than any sitting president in the history of the country and much more votes than I got in 2016, when I left, they started shooting our soldiers. But more importantly, what they did is they did that whole thing with, leaving. He shouldn't have left. Number one, should have left from Bagram, because Bagram's this massive base. It's got tremendous acreage around it. Tremendous. It's a very big, it was built many years ago. And part of the reason you wouldn't have taken that is because it goes to China. 1 hour from where China makes its nuclear missiles. You should have never left Bagram. Number one, they should have left from Bagram. They should have left last. They should have got, we have Americans that are still there. They should have taken all their equipment out. Everything, every plane, every screw should have been taken out. Every tent. And I said that's what.
And I'm now kicking myself for not looking it up, that I didn't have it yesterday. But that clip from when Kamala was at the debate saying was it Kamala or was it? Yeah, it was Kamala at the debate saying there's no active troops anywhere, whatever. And then it's someone, filming their TV, and then it turns around and it's a room full of deployed soldiers.
When I realized that Millie was a dummy, I said, we're leaving,
dummy.
But I want to get everything out. Sir, it's cheaper to leave it. I said, what do you mean
cheaper to leave it?
Yeah, he said it's cheaper to leave it. That was
cheaper.
Cheaper. He said it's cheaper.
Is it though?
Sir.
Not more dangerous.
He just said cheaper. I said, I want every plane.
That's all they
I
care
want
about.
every tank.
That's
I want the
all
goggles.
they care
have
about.
Night goggles. They have all this stuff that these guys now have. He said, sir, it's cheaper to get out and leave it. I said, so you think it's cheaper to leave a $150 million brand new airplane in there than it is to fly it out with a tank of jet fuel and put it in Pakistan or just fly it directly back?
Who needs enemies with leaders like that?
It's cheaper to leave. I said, this guy's nuts. I'm telling you, he was so stupid. He was so unwise. He was like an unwise man. And there were a number of them. But I defeated ISIS with the greatest generals. I had a guy who was so great. I flew to Iraq and I met the real generals, not these
guys. If you don't like ISIS, hit that like button. Hit the like button to say F you, ISIS.
Idiots that we deal with. And we knocked out, I defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate. They said it would take 5 years. I did it in a matter of literally a few weeks. And we hit them hard. And he said, so we're going to hit him here. We're going to hit him there. We're going to hit him here, there. And I said, this guy's great. I like this guy. I was told it would take 5 years. That's why I went. I said, how could it take 5 years? We have brand new fighters. We have the best planes, the best weapons, the best guns, the best bombs. How could it possibly take that long? And I flew in, left at 3:00 in the morning. Nobody knew I was going. I got on Air Force One and we started flying. And when we reached about half an hour away from Iraq, that was where the airport was, big airport, about a half an hour away, they said, sir, I'm sorry, you'll have to turn off all your lights. Why? We're getting close to our site, our land. I said, you mean we spent $8 trillion or we can't leave the lights? I think it is 20 years, $8 trillion or we can't leave the lights on.
This is a man who lives in luxury, okay? War zone or not, we need luxury.
Plane. I said, that's okay. Turn the lights on. I'm not going to fight them. That's what.
This is because it's too dangerous?
Yeah, too dangerous because they see the light up in the air. They'll shoot at it, So I said, turn the lights off. Then they said, so we're going to also pull your shades if that's okay. I said, that's okay. The plane was pitch black. All the lights outside, the blinking, they go the blinking reds. They were all turned off. And I like to sit with pilots a lot of times. And these guys are specimens. I always say they're better looking than Tom Cruise. Okay. And they're even taller. Like perfect.
Hey, come on, man. You're already tall. No need to throw shade at the short kings. Come on, Tom Cruise. I don't care if you're a Scientologist. Short kings stick together. Let's go. Let's go.
Specimens. These guys, like for a fighter, you have some guys that are perfect specimens.
Right.
And, they pick the best pilots in the Air Force, United States Air Force, to fly Air Force One. And I get up there and I'm sitting and I'm feeling my way up. It's up on 747, so you go through the stairs, but I sort of knew my way up. There wasn't a light in the plane. I'm saying, can you imagine? We spent trillions of dollars and we're trying to fly in blind. But I got into the plane. The cockpit is dark black, little tiny light. You could see the pilot, a perfect looking human being. His co-pilot, everybody was perfect. They were all like movie stars. It's like I could have cast a movie with these guys and nobody would believe it because they were too good looking.
Again, this is the type of stuff that when I was an Ever Trumper, like, what is he rambling about? Like, oh my God. I just didn't get it.
So I said, how are we doing? Sure.
Because again, like think about if you're sitting at home and you have let's not say thankless job, but a very important job of flying Air Force One, and nobody knows who the hell you are. And Trump is taking the time while he's on the biggest podcast. Now, okay, he's got the 3 hours, but he's taking the time to just talk about how, oh, wow, these are impressive dudes. Like just little things like that is how he connects with people. And if you're angry and you're looking for a way to hate this guy, then those are the types of things that are going to go right over your head.
We'll be landing in 10 minutes and I look outside. There's not a light. And I'm saying, I've landed a lot of planes. And you see like little lights at least. There's nothing. It's just pure desert.
That's what
and I said, okay, Captain, good, but I'm looking. Now you've been in many places where it has the computer sign saying 1,000 feet, goes 1,900, 800. It's a computer voice, but it's an incredible voice.
It's incredible.
700. I said, Captain, are we okay? I'm looking, are we okay, Captain? There's no lights. And I'm looking, normally when you land a plane, because I sit with pilots a lot, I think it's great. I think it's a great.
Yeah, usually you have the runway and the lights from up there, and you're following all of that, and this is just darkness.
Profession, everything. It's incredible. They're incredible. These machines are incredible. He said, sir, we're fine. No problem, sir. I said, I don't see the lights up there, Captain. Sure, we're okay. So, I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit. Problem with exaggerating, they'll tell the story. They'll say Trump was a coward. So I'm sitting with him. He goes, 500, and I'm telling you, there wasn't a light on the runway, nothing. And we're going in. You okay, Captain? Everything good? Yes, sir. No problem. We'll be down in about 1 minute, sir. And I'm telling you, Joe, there's always a light. There's not a little pin. And all of a sudden, psh, and you hear, blah, blah, perfect landing like glass.
Like what? Like.
And all of a sudden, psh, and you hear, blah, blah, perfect landing like glass.
Psh, blah, blah. I guess that's the perfect sound of Air Force One.
That's how good. I mean, these guys, between the equipment and it's genius. It's pure. It was so dark. You couldn't see a thing. There was no runway. You wouldn't know where the hell you are. You're in the middle of a desert. And then I got out of the plane. I said, thank you, Captain. That's a great job. And then I get out of the plane and I'm going down and I see a general and another general. And I see
this is the when people do impressions of Trump, this is the mannerism. The whispering and you don't really know and Kamala, like that part before they go into the exaggerated stuff, they miss it.
Out of the plane and I'm going down and I see a general and another general and I see a staff sergeant, a drill sergeant, and various guys, all central casting. They said, sir, would you like to rest? I said, I don't want to rest. I want to figure out what the hell are we doing with ISIS. I'm here and we can't. It's going to take years.
Fucking go!
No, sir, we can do it very quickly, sir.
Biden would need a little nap. A little nap.
Come on, man. And anyway, we go into the room. Biden would have taken a nap for 4 days and then left without a meeting. So we go into the room and they have these guys. I say, how long can you do it? How long? We can do it in a couple of weeks, sir. I said, wait a minute. They told me 5 years. We can do it in, I don't know, he gave me a number like in no time. I said, why haven't you done it? Because the orders came in from Washington, sir, and they would come here and tell us what to do. Don't you challenge us? We're not allowed to do that, sir. That's not the military way. They tell us what to do, and we have to respect them.
So do you think that it was incompetence? Why they didn't?
And yeah, Shane Gillis, it's just so perfect. It's just so perfect. And it's funny because there's a woman on TikTok who does a Kamala impression, and she's clearly a Trump fan, but she's got to be of two minds because her impression is so good. You've probably seen her around. Her impression is so good that if Kamala wins, like she's got a career. She's got a career. But I don't know. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? If you could make your money impersonating the worst president, but they were the worst president, would you want them to win?
Way. They tell us what to do, and we have to respect them.
So do you think that it was incompetence? Why they didn't go after ISIS?
I think it's a bad system. When Mattis goes there or when Milley goes there, who's stupid, and they tell these guys that are actually smart what to do, and the guys that are smart are saying, we don't like what they're doing, but they're not allowed to sort of counteract. Plus, the guys that went there are arrogant. They're arrogant fools. They're like stupid fools.
What, in the government? Arrogant people in the government? No way.
The way they pulled out of... the way they, as an example, the way they pulled out of Afghanistan with the people falling off the planes.
Yeah, it's a disgrace.
It was worse than Vietnam with the helicopters falling. It was so bad. There was no reason for it.
And the other thing is that I'm going to be 35. Jesus Christ. I'm going to be 35 next month. And so I wasn't alive for that. I don't remember what they call it, but what he was just talking about, Vietnam and people falling off the helicopters and stuff. And so whether it was worse or not as bad or whatever, we definitely got it in better resolution. And for so many of us that weren't alive then, that's the only example of that happening in our faces live on TV that we have. So the fact that it already existed and then it happened again.
Anyway, so we knocked them out. And I mean, we have great military. We have great people, but not the television guys. And I rebuilt the military, and then they gave a chunk of it. Now, you have to tell, as much as it is, it's a tiny little piece. Believe it or not, we have an unbelievable. I rebuilt the military. I rebuilt our nuclear.
Yeah, all the ones with the trans flag, those are Trump's guys.
And in a way, I hated to redo it, but I got to realize how powerful that nuclear is, Joe. One bomb, Israel is gone, but forget. One bomb could take out the entire East Coast. It's so bad. And I watch these poor fools talking about our oceans will rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 500 years. I mean, we have people, we have countries. Right now, you have 5 countries. And don't underestimate North. If you take a look at North Korea, I was there. I mean, I was with Kim Jong. I had a great I got along great with him. In
the DMZ.
The president, he got along good. That's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. Obama thought we were going to go to war with North Korea. When I met with Obama just prior to the takeover, you meet, you have a sort of a ceremonial meeting, but it lasted a long time, a lot longer than it was supposed to last. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea. By the time I finished, we had no problem with North Korea. We were really, it was a little tough at the beginning, remember?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I have a red button on my desk. I said,
I got a bigger one. And it works. I should have let him say it. But again, guys, if you could do me a huge favor, hit that like button. It is free. It is easy. And it helps out so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Red button also, but mine's bigger than yours and mine works.
I liked how you called him Little Rocket Man.
I said, Little Rocket. I said, Little Rocket Man, you're going to burn in hell. And it was a rough.
Yeah.
Oh, so rough that people were worried. This is crazy. And then one day I got a call, sort of like a fight. I got a call. You ever see that pounding? Then all of a sudden, but I got a call. And it was from him, meaning his people. They wanted to meet. They wouldn't meet Obama. He tried to meet. They wouldn't even talk to him about it. And I think he expected to go to war. I actually do. I believe he expected to go. And we checked their nuclear stuff out. It is substantial. I mean, I said, do you do anything? I got to know him very well. I got to know him better than anybody. And I said, David.
Except Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman knows Kim Jong-un about better than Trump does. Come on, man.
Do anything else? Why don't you go take it easy and relax? Go to the beach. You have beautiful beach, nice beachfront property.
Said every other world leader about Trump. They're all like, hey, bro, why don't you just, go do your thing? You don't need to be in this politics stuff. Come on, man. We're good without you. We don't need you. We don't need you. Come on.
Anything else? Why don't you go take it easy and relax? Go to the beach. You have beautiful nice beachfront property. Kiddingly. I said, You're always building nuclear. Just relax. You don't have to do it.
Relax.
Let's build some condos on your shoreline. They actually have gorgeous stuff. And he said, I just have to do it because I need it for my safety, etc. I got to know him very well. We had no problem with him. If you have a smart problem, if you have really the right president, a smart president, you're not going to have a problem. And I say it to people, we have a bigger problem, in my opinion, with the enemy from within. And it drives them crazy when I use that term. But we have an enemy from within.
I've already seen multiple clips from multiple different places of people asking J.D. Vance or other conservative or Republican pundits to answer for this. The enemy within. The enemy within. You're goddamn right. You're goddamn right. And J.D. Vance did a really good job. I don't know where it was. Again, just scrolling through TikTok like a doom scrolling idiot. But you'd be surprised how much news you get. Anyway, J.D. Vance did a very good job with articulating how, look, yeah, of course, other countries are dangerous. But we've got the U.S. military. We're good there. We're not worried about that. Not that we want that to happen. But if it were to happen, militarily, we're good. Rhetorically, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
with the enemy from within. And it drives them crazy when I use that term. But we have an enemy from within. We have people that are really bad people that I really think want to make this country unsuccessful. When you look at what's happening at our border, Joe, when you have people coming in that when other countries are allowed to empty their prisons into our country with murderers, we had 13,099 murderers dropped in our country over the last 3 years.
And then 15,000 rapists convicted.
Rapists,
Yep.
Yeah.
drug dealers, drug lords.
And that's just the ones that have been accounted
terrorists,
for.
correct. People from mental institutions.
What do you think the strategy is?
Hundreds of thousands of major criminals, tougher and worse than anybody we have.
We're seeing the consequences of it in San Antonio. They've taken over apartment buildings. In Aurora, Colorado, they've taken over apartment buildings.
Yep. And I have heard again, just on TikTok, I don't know if it's completely full of shit or it is real, but apparently they're headed to Jersey. Apparently. So we will see. I will be able to give you first-hand information. They have mentioned my hometown. So we'll see.
These Venezuelan gangs.
Just the beginning.
What do you think the strategy is? You know, one of the things that they've said is that you stopped a bill from being passed. But didn't that bill also include amnesty for the people that are already here?
Yeah, this is years after the fact. The damage was already done.
But what was the bill?
Well,
and
the bill
what
was
the
nothing.
problems
It
with the
allowed
bill?
Sending money abroad.
2 million people, and they were going to get amnesty. It was a horrible bill. It didn't protect us at all.
But we should just tell people what
So maybe this isn't the most recent one.
the strategy is. So one of the things
Well,
that's
I'll
been
tell you
very
what their
their
strategy
strategy.
is.
One of the things that's been very clear is that they've moved a large percentage of these migrants. They're coming across the border illegally. They've moved them to swing states. Like this is what's going on with Springfield, Ohio, right?
They're in swing.
Shout out to Matthew King. Welcome to the party. Good to see you. Yeah, we were having a good time yesterday. You should have came through, but you're here now, and that is what matters. Welcome, sir.
They've moved them to swing states. Like this is what's going on with Springfield, Ohio, right?
They're in swing states. Well, that's not a swing state. I'm going to win Ohio by a lot. So that's not a swing. But it's called Springfield, Ohio, to be exact. And Springfield, Ohio is this very nice community of 52,000 people that just had 32,000 migrants that don't speak the language dropped into their community. You can't get into a hospital. You can't get into a school. It's gone from a beautiful little place to a horror show. And the mayor is a nice guy. And the mayor says, we're looking for interpreters. I said, no, you've got to remove them and bring them back to their country.
Because guess what? If you bring in interpreters, not only does that cost more money, but that normalizes the fact that, hey, if you go to Springfield, Ohio, they've got interpreters there.
Haitians in this case, but they speak no language. They speak no
English, man.
It's always a one-step solution. It's always a Band-Aid solution to immediately solve what is happening right now with no concern for the day after.
In fact, even the language they do speak, they can't get interpreters. They can't do anything. And the mayor's trying to be politically correct. They're all trying to be. In Aurora, Colorado, you have the worst, probably the worst gang. MS-13 might even be, those two are the worst gangs. These are Venezuela gangs. They have taken over apartment complexes, and they're going to want to take over the whole thing. And you have a weak governor.
But only a handful of complexes.
Pathetic governor who's a radical left Democrat. He doesn't know what the hell to do. But you have it in many other communities, but they don't like to talk about it because it's bad for the community to talk about it. Mm-hmm. These people have been let in here by this imbecile. And I mean it, she's a low IQ person. Low IQ.
Right, but it's obviously not just her. There's a strategy that's involved in letting these people in.
She was in charge of the border.
Well, she's in charge of the border, but they utilize that app, the app that used to be used.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And so I was thinking Joe's going to come in and be like, well, obviously the border problem far precedes the Biden-Harris administration. And while it is absolutely reasonable to call out the issues with their administration, how they did or did not handle it, I thought he was going to go down the road of like, well, they didn't create this problem, but they did create the bill or not the bill. They did create the app, did they not? Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party, sir. Very, very, very good to see you. Another reminder for the free Discord server. And if you are a member, you get extra perks So come and join us. Thank you, sir. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
Well, she's in charge of the border, but they also they utilize that app. The app that used to be used. It used to be used, I think, essentially, wasn't it for shipping? Wasn't it when people were in this country?
It was used for shipping, and now it's used to deal with
Guys, we ain't got 50% likes. Can I just get one more like? One more. That's
the
it.
cartels. The cartel, heads of the cartel, rich people, by the way. These are loaded. These people have so much money. They would call up. Think of this. They call up the app, and the app tells them where they should take their load of illegal migrants from the Congo. You know, we have a lot from the Congo, prisons in the Congo. I made a little bit of a sarcastic joke. A man named Dana White, who you love, who I love. I assume you love him.
Love that too.
I think he's in a class by him.
He's probably the reason why you're here.
I don't know, maybe.
He's one of the big ones.
He is the greatest guy.
I love him.
Shout out to Dana White. It's interesting how I'm like, that was clearly a joke when Joe say, oh, he's probably the reason you're here. Remember earlier on, they talked about how, the fact that Trump went on Theo, and Trump was like, is that the reason why you invited me? So there's clearly a very real, very characteristic ego about like, well, how come you didn't want me before, but you want me now kind of thing. And it's boiling beneath the surface. And he's, Trump is a professional. He is going to do what he's got to do. But you can tell that as Joe has said many times before, they've asked to go on the show and he's always said no. Don't forget.
Love that dude.
I think he's in a class by him.
He's probably the reason why you're here.
I don't know, maybe.
He's one of the big ones.
He is the greatest guy.
I
always say nobody's indispensable. Everybody can be replaced. Maybe you can't be. You might not be. But Dana White, truly, I don't think. The things they sold it for $4 billion. I said, "What the hell? Who the hell is going to pay $4 billion?" And they made like a great deal. I mean,
it's
because of him.
Take
him out. I think it's a whole different.
No,
if you're not familiar, the Zuffa was the parent company that owned the UFC for a long time, and they went through a lot of BS. And they call it the Dark Ages. He's about to talk about how John McCain. It was illegal in New York. UFC was illegal in New York until Andrew Cuomo in 2014, 2016, something like that, overturned the bill or whatever. John McCain was really not happy with it. And so all this stuff was going on while that was the parent company. And then they wanted to sell, and the UFC sold for $4 billion.
And they made like a great deal. I mean, because of him. Take him out. I think it's a whole different.
No, he's the best.
And he's also the greatest guy. He spoke at the whole thing with, I had just been shot, and he got up and he spoke so better than anybody. I mean, who would be better to introduce you? I asked of all the people, and I know the biggest people in the world, and they all would have loved to have done it. I said, Dana, would you do it? It was interesting. He was
twice, right? I think this one and in 2020. I'm pretty sure.
Away. And he said to the people that, one of my guys called.
He was away?
I won't be able to do it.
He was away.
Just left with my wife and family. I said, he said, no, yeah. I was a little surprised, even though I knew he was very far away. He was in someplace, and he deserved it with his family, the whole thing. And then I said, all right, and so we're looking who we're going to get. And all of a sudden she comes in. Sir Dana White just said he's going to do it, and he's coming back in tonight. He's taking it. The guy is just an incredible guy, and he's like a tough champion, but loyal. Yeah, he's got to be one of your favorite people. He's one of my favorite people.
Of course. Shout out to our boy Carl's Frosted Tips, a member for 2 months, saying glad to be aboard Trump 2024. Save America. It's the only way. How? Thank you so very, very much, sir, and glad to have you here. Welcome to the party. Very, very, very good to see you, sir.
Champion, but loyal. Yeah, he's got to be one of your favorite people. He's one of my favorite people. I love him to death.
I've been friends with him for 23 years.
Aww.
I love him.
So would you have, because what you're doing here is incredible. I mean,
and of course, never forgetting about our co-host and overlord, Morty. Thank you, sir. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so very, very much, sir. You're looking good in that new profile pic, brother. I like it.
For 23 years. I love it.
So would you have, because what you're doing here is incredible. I mean, everybody tells me, all I know is today I'm going, you're on Joe Rogan. People are telling me, like I say, how the hell do you know that? But It's
We
sort of
all
what you've done
been
here is amazing. Where would you be if you didn't do the UFC stuff? Would you have this show?
Right
do you
here,
think,
Yeah, I
or-
would still be doing it for sure.
Yup.
Yeah.
Would
I
it
mean,
be
I
at
was
the
doing it
same? Would it be at the same level?
I don't know.
But you would have
It's,
to.
it's hard to know.
No. Ooh, that's our poll. Hold on, let me finish this for our boy, Carl's Frosted Tips, who has just made himself the sponsor of the stream. But we definitely got to make that into a poll. So if Joe was never with UFC, would JRE be? Let's say, would JRE still be iconic? Let's put it that way. It doesn't have to be as big, but would it still be iconic if Joe was never with the UFC? Let's see what y'all think.
For sure. Yeah.
Would
I
it
mean, I
be
was
at the
doing it
same? Would it be at the same level?
I don't know.
But you would have.
It's hard to know. I think,
Hey, shout out to the Shuli Network. Dilly dilly. There you go. There you go.
one of the things that works for this show, I guess, is that I'm involved in so many different things. You know, stand-up comedy, UFC, and all the interests that I have that lead to the podcast.
Will you always want to do you? First of all, you love UFC.
I love it. Yeah.
You love the fights. I mean, I watch
yeah.
you. You are loving it. They could pay you nothing. It'd be very.
They didn't pay me anything for the first 13 shows. I did it for free because they were hemorrhaging money. And I became friends with Dana. And my position was, you're going to give me the best seat in the house. I get to sit cage side for the fights.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. I want to vote that that's hard to decide. We are now at 80% of you saying no. If Joe was never with UFC, would JRE still be iconic? Not as big, but would it be as iconic? I want to vote that he probably would lean more into his comedy side. And to be honest, he isn't that great of a comic. And you know what? I completely agree. Because what is the allure of the podcast, especially at this stage in the game? It's not Joe, it's the guests he's able to get. And the guests he's able to get is by virtue of him having those connections. So I think you are right. Shout out to Ed's Funhouse. Welcome to the party. Said, fuck you, Carl. I'm taking that sponsor spot with a super sticker. And of course, a treat for Morty. Thank you so very much. And we also got our boy, Melted Mind Media. Welcome. Good to see ya. Said, no, the UFC would not be as big without Joe. Not the question, but I definitely agree. And look, we also got water ice. There we go. Sorry, Ed, you didn't even get a chance to get in the banner. Water Ice came in and said, fuck you both. I am the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so very, very much. Very much appreciated. Melton My Media said, I think Jerry would be just as big. I don't, but how would he get there? How would he get that big? He's just a guy outside of that. And it's not the fact that he doesn't have the skill to carry these conversations. Very clearly he does. But it's about the guests that he can get in front of him. I don't know. I disagree with you, sir. But let's dive right back in. Thank you so very, very much, guys. I do very much appreciate it. And you know, Morty definitely does as well.
My position was, you're going to give me the best seat in the house. I get to sit cage side for the fights. I'll do it. And I wanted to help. I was like, I think these are the guys that we had always hoped for. In the early days of the sport, I started working for the company in 1997. I was before the UFC was purchased by Zuffa, which Dana worked for.
Wow.
So put a 1 in the chat if you were alive in 1997.
So I was a part of the previous owners. And I only did it for a couple of years. It was just too much, and I was losing money. And it was banned from cable because of Budweiser and John McCain, and you could only get it on DirecTV.
Shout out again to our super sponsor, Water Ice. Yeah, we got some old ass motherfuckers in here. Damn! Oh, we got one, a little baby. Damn, not even alive in 97. That is wild. Yeah, Carl said, I don't think he would be. I agree with you guys. I think that, maybe over time he would have been able to, again, I'm going back on my own wording, and I didn't say that it had to be as big. I talked about it being iconic. And so, Melted Mind Media is talking about the Fear Factor clout. He knows a lot of people in Hollywood. That's very true. He was on, what is that show? Something radio, something, what is it called? newspaper, radio, something, something, whatever that show was. He was on that. So yeah, we got baby Melty, but he's our baby boy, Melted Mind Media. So the 2000s, baby, yet smarter than a lot of 90s kids. I blame the lead paint. I'll give it to you. I want to vote. Joe Rogan has the work ethic to become big, but iconic is the I don't know aspect. Fair enough. Yeah, it's a tough question. News radio. There you go. It's a tough question. And of course, we will never know. But the I guess your answer is going to be dependent on, do you think it's just the fact that he was able to get those connections through the level of UFC that he still would have had Hollywood connections? I don't know. I'm kind of going back on it now. Because Mountain Mind Media is right. He definitely knew a lot of people, and the skill was there. And it's not like everybody was paying attention in the beginning. It always would have taken time. I don't know. I'm stuck. I don't know. We will see. Carl's asked if we are doing a live election show, early show and after party to show after all the polls close. Well, we already know that we're not going to get the answer on who is going to be the president on November 5th. So I am talking to people. We'll see what's going on. Likely what I'll do is have an open panel where we'll bring a bunch of you guys up and we can kind of just like watch, what Timcast is doing. And then we'll switch over to like the Young Turks or something. And we can switch to Crowder. Or we could switch to whoever else is, doing stuff. So I think we'll do something. But I'm not promising yet. I don't know. That's too far ahead. We'll see. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you're in the Discord. That way you will know exactly what is going on.
Money, and it was banned from cable because of Budweiser and John McCain, and you can only get it on DirecTV. And then
I came along and I gave him the sites.
And he loves
and he
you for
never
that.
forgot it.
He loves you for that. He talks about it all the time.
We'll see.
Just to interrupt you for one second. So they couldn't get a site because it was too dangerous, and everybody was against it, and they couldn't get a license. And I gave him the first 2 or 3 sites, and they were great. And by the way, I went to the first fight. I said, I never saw anything like this. It was crazy. It was so good. Take the best fight you've ever seen. It was like that fight, right? It was so good.
I believe he's talking about Trump Taj Mahal.
That I gave it to him again.
Which is right here in Jersey, in Atlantic City.
And all of a sudden it caught on. But when I wasn't in vogue, I've had time. You probably never had a time, but I had times when I wasn't exactly in vogue. Dana, they called him. He said, he's the greatest guy. There's nobody like him. He said, I'll never say anything bad about that guy.
So maybe we can do like a Discord thing where we can all hang out in the Discord. That way I don't feel the need to, be running everything. But we can all be hanging out and we'll just watch, we'll have different streams open of this, like, oh, this person's saying this and that person's saying that. We'll figure it out. It's definitely not going to be something very regimented and structured. It's just at this point, like I get that you guys want to do something, but when it comes to the numbers, like people are just going to watch the bigger channels. So we'll see. Keep your notifications on so that you know.
Greatest guy. There's nobody like. He said, I'll never say anything bad about that guy because when I needed, because they were having a hard time at the beginning. They almost pulled the plug a couple of times, right? He said he stood up and he gave us stuff that nobody else gave us and nobody wanted anything to do. And he said, I will never. And there was a time where it would have been very popular for him to say bad stuff about me. He said the greatest stuff about me. He said, you're going to try and get me to say bad stuff about Trump? I'm never doing it.
No,
so
he's an unusual guy.
Yeah,
very unusual guy.
He's a fantastic guy.
A perfect guy to be at the helm of something so controversial as the UFC.
Less controversial now.
Well, now it's huge. Yeah. Well, this was always the thing that I would hope that it would be. I always knew that it was unbelievably entertaining, but I just didn't know if maybe I was crazy. Maybe I loved it because I've had this long history of being involved in martial arts, and maybe like other people just think it's too violent. But
you are crazy, man.
Can boxing make it?
Yeah, boxing's still a great sport. I love boxing,
but it seems to be.
I never really got the bug for boxing. Like I get the allure. I understand what is supposed to be so amazing about it, but I don't know. It just never hooked me. Like obviously the big fights are important. Everybody wants to see that, and it's so simple in the sense of like it's a fight. There's not a lot of rules that you got to understand. Even if you don't understand the rules, you can still enjoy it. But I don't know, it just never really appealed to me the same way MMA did. King Nirvana said, I've always thought all presidential voting has been rigged. What say you? If Kamala wins, what will you think? Yeah, I don't see any possible way. Like, there's always, I think they even bring it up and talking about it's definitely not 0%. There's always some type of whether it's direct fraud or things falling through the cracks or mistakes being made. We're talking about hundreds of millions of people. No, we're talking about how many people in the US? We're talking about like yeah, we're talking about billions of people. Billions? How many people? What's the? I want to say like 2 or 3 billion, but what is the population of the US? Okay, 300 million. Okay, so that's that many people. Point being, with that many people, there's always going to be mistakes and stuff. But if Kamala wins, I just don't see how. There is just not the organic push behind her, and I don't think that the establishment, the donors, the people who don't know anybody, I just don't think that is enough. The house of cards that I always talk about, maybe it's enough to convince convince people in general that things are moving in a certain direction. But I just don't see how people could think that she's enough. I just don't get it. Yeah, same. And I mean, I drive for my job, so I'm driving all over, not all over the state, but I'm driving all over. And New Jersey is a blue state, but you see a lot of Trump stuff, and you see a lot of enthusiastic Trump stuff, as opposed to just like a little sign in the yard. You see flags, you see big ornate things, and you might see a Harris sign everywhere, every here and there, but it's just not there. It's just not there. And at least with Joe Biden, at least in terms of the Democrat perspective, at least with Joe Biden, he had a record. He had a very solid career in politics. Kamala doesn't. King said, by rigged, I think the establishment picks winners. Again, I have no proof, and my mind can be changed. Oh, that's the way to be. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you.
Can boxing make it?
Yeah, boxing's still a great sport. I love boxing.
But it seems to be so unimportant now by comparison to UFC, don't you think?
I think, well, Dana is working with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They're going to start promoting boxing now. And with Dana at the helm of it, I think boxing could return, because the thing is, they want to make fights that other people, maybe, promoters don't want to make because they want to protect their fighter.
I wonder if Trump is like, hey, let me get him talking about fighting, and he won't ask me about any political stuff. I wonder. I know he's generally interested in this stuff, but he knows exactly the stakes of this conversation. One Defoe said the left who follow under Kamala have gone ridiculously far left. So far left that it's leaving Democrats to be closer to the Republican Party than not. Yeah, as we've been saying for months. 4 months, at least since Kamala's been in, but even before, the Republican ticket is the moderate ticket. Yes, in 2016, Donald Trump was the radical outsider candidate. That same exact guy, and I mean, he's not the same exact guy, but that same person is now the moderate choice. If you are not into politics and you look at this stuff objectively, then the standard deviation from what we have now, or at least what we had in 2019, for what these people want, Kamala wants something very, very different. And Donald Trump wants 2019 exactly, if not better. I mean, I don't, what other way can you look at this? Oh, he's a convicted felon. Oh my God. Yeah, it just shows how bad Kamala has run her race. I think we need a JRE Trump part 2 after the election. That would be interesting. And the fact that, they have this here now, they have a relationship. I don't think it would be out of the question. Let's cross our fingers. Carl said, I'm from NJ, now in Pennsylvania. I still go to Jersey a lot for family, and I see a lot of Trump stuff. Same with Pennsylvania. Yep. You say it. TDS has not, the TDS has the left not realizing that Trump is a Democrat from the 80s and 90s. It's just that simple. That's it.
Make fights that other people, maybe, promoters don't want to make because they want to protect their fighter. Controversial fights where, it's dangerous. Like, you don't know, this guy could lose. And so the Saudis, they're smart. They just offer a tremendous amount of money, and they're putting together fights that no one else can put together. They're doing that in boxing.
Shout out to Soft Num Nums. Welcome to the party. Going back to the poll, if Joe was never with the UFC, would JRE still be iconic? Soft Num Nums said, unless Joe lost interest in combat sports, I think he would still grab the attention of young men, in my opinion, because he was established in the fight culture of UFC. But I also say UFC amplified it. Yeah, that was originally, I was like, oh, hell no. It's all about his connections. But yeah, Belgian My Media brought up a great point about how even through fucking, what was it called? Fucking Fear Factor, that he had, and news radio, that he definitely had, or before years, yeah. He had connections, and we see that he has the rhetorical skills to hold a show like this. So I don't know. First, I was definitely on the no train, but I think I'm flipping. I'm flipping. I don't know. King said, I want Trump on a tinfoil hat with Sam Tripoli, but that's not gonna happen. That would be awesome. Yeah, the audience he got from UFC would take longer without it, but he would still gain it. That seems to be where I'm landed. Welcome to the party.
For a tremendous amount of money, and they're putting together fights that no one else can put together. They're doing that in boxing.
If Dana's involved, he'll probably make it good. The amazing thing, though, in fighting, no UFC fighter, they say, has ever died. And it looks to be much more violent than boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Many boxers have died. Isn't it interesting? And Dana tells me because
head trauma. And again, I'm wondering, is Trump like, let's play this out? We know Joe likes to talk about his comedy and his MMA and all that stuff. Let's draw this out. Let's take the attention off of me.
They take so many shots to the face.
Yes. And there's also no other options to preserve yourself, to protect yourself. So if you get hit in a UFC fight, you can clinch. You can try to take the fight to the ground. You get options. Yeah. Also, you don't get allowed to get knocked down and then get back up. When you get knocked down, you're concussed. And generally, if a guy's really hurt, they could be finished on the ground and the fight's over. If it's boxing, you have 10 seconds to get up. You get up, your head kind of clears, but you're still in real bad trouble. And
it's really weird how counterintuitive that is. That we would think, oh yeah, put big pads on them, and then if they fall down, just let them get up. Don't let them keep fighting. You would think. Even as I'm saying it, and I know that the repeated repeated hits and all that stuff, and the multiple concussions, I know that, but it still is intuitive that the one with the pillows on their hands and giving them a chance would be better, but it clearly is not. Yeah, more pro wrestlers have died than UFC fighters, and in the ring. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that Vince McMahon docuseries that just came out, but I've always known, I worked with a couple of people who were amateur wrestlers, and when I was a kid, I watched WWF stuff. But then, when it became like, I was of the age where, I was believing it. And so then when it became popularized that like, this is scripted, I was like, oh, well, this is fake. And so I just left from there. And of course, I know a lot of people who are still fans, like, are not under the illusion that it's real. Just like when you go watch a movie, you're not thinking that this is happening in real time. It's a documentary, that this is a scripted movie. So I get that part of it. But yeah, I did not necessarily understand how hard those wrestlers go. Because of the degree that you have to, the showmanship, because it's not an actual fight, because you have to bring the entertainment elsewhere, you got to throw your body around, and these motherfuckers are fucked up. I mean, we've all seen The Wrestler, right? I mean, who hasn't seen The Wrestler?
Of 10 seconds to get up. You get up, your head kind of clears, but
Right,
you're
right.
still in real bad trouble. And then you can kind of run away and survive until the bell rings.
Yeah.
They're only 3-minute rounds, and then you start again. So you're getting
Yeah.
repeated punishment to the head.
Yeah.
And then there's also the issue of guys weight cutting, which is a problem with the UFC as well. But weight cutting in boxing has led to, if you look at deaths in boxing, there's very few of them in the heavyweight division. Most of the deaths in boxing are the lighter weight divisions because when guys dehydrate themselves to lose weight,
put a 1 in the chat if you are opposed to me skipping the fight talk
to make weight, their brain is the last thing that gets rehydrated. Like, it's very difficult to completely hydrate your brain quickly.
Hey, shout out to Craig. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Yeah, let me know if anybody is super. We got a 2. Hey, we got Zippy in the building. Welcome to the party. Yeah, I'm here for Trump. I love Rogan, but I mean, after all these years, I know exactly what he's going to say about fighting and all of this and all of that. And if you don't, then there's an entire catalog of over 2,200 videos where he is guaranteed to talk about it in between. So instead of just skipping up completely, we'll just speed it up a little. See what we got.
You only have 24 hours between the weigh-in and the fight. And it used to be the weigh-ins were the day of the fight. Like when Boom Boom Mancini had a fight with Duck Kim and killed him in the ring, which was one of the last ones on television that we've seen. That was a crazy event for people and heartbreaking. And it led to a bunch of different changes. And one of them is date.
And again, I'm not a wrestling fan after the age of 9, but seeing it in hindsight and seeing it the way that it was done, I mean, obviously, the stuff that came out, not great. But you definitely have to give him his props for business.
Before weigh-ins to allow people to rehydrate better. And the other one is they dropped it from 15 rounds.
Hey, Zippy, DSMLE with the Rumble Rain. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Say a little something for the Morty boy. Thank you. Very, very, very much appreciated, sir. All right. And again, if you're just joining us, we are just speeding through the fight talk to get to the good
rounds
stuff.
Down to 12.
Which, look, they should do that again.
Sizemore, welcome. Good to see you, sir. We are checking this out, but again, I feel like Trump is trying to kind of waste time talking about UFC and boxing, and Dana's this, and we want to hear about the good stuff.
The fighters, but those 15-round fights were unbelievable.
They were unbelievable. Yeah, you go back to the golden age.
Yeah, in terms of entertainment,
those were the
greatest fights.
Those last 3 rounds were crazy.
That was brutal.
I mean, it's such a war of attrition.
You know, a lot of
people think like a 5-round UFC fight. The UFC is 5-minute rounds. It's so much energy you're burning out. And those last couple of rounds, those 5-round fights, the 4th and the 5th round, unbelievably brutal.
Who's the greatest UFC fighter? Are you allowed to say, in your opinion? It's tough for you to say because you do this, but who do you think is the greatest of the fighters?
There's a lot of arguments for who's the greatest of all time. John Jones.
I like that, Zippy. Wrestling is like video games. It's surreal. It either clicks or not. And that's how I felt. I just watched The Flash. They just put it on Netflix. And I don't know about you guys, but the way that the CGI was in that, it made me feel like I was watching somebody play a video game. Like, I'm not a gamer, so I'm not super, familiarized with what games look like aside from other people playing them. But that's what it felt like. This is actually pretty cool if they tried to do this, but if they tried to make this look realistic, like it looks like a video game. Hey, we got a new sponsor of the stream. Said Morty wants the good stuff, and the good stuff Morty gets. That pure beef liver, freeze dried. Oh, look at him, loving it. And of course, the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you very, very much, sir. Very much appreciated. Let's grab this from Sizemore real quick. Said nowadays the games are pretty damn close to looking real, but I remember saying that in like 2005. Yeah, it's like super realistic. And then the next one comes out and I'm like, oh, that looks like shit. Why did we think that was cool? Again, as someone who's not a gamer, anything like PS3 and beyond, I'm just like, whoa. But I hear you. Yeah, that one. And it was actually better than I anticipated. I thought it was going to be, because it was essentially a flop. I thought it was going to be bad, but it was good. The story was well done. It sucks that, they handed everything off to James Gunn, and they told everybody they were going to hand it off to James Gunn before the movie came out. And then Ezra Miller was getting into all that bullshit, but If you know, you know. All right.
Most people would say it's the greatest of all time, never lost. There's certainly a really good argument for that. There's another
GSP.
argument for George St. Pierre. I always leave in BJ
And
Penn in his prime,
Silva.
Anderson Silva in his prime. Mighty Mouse. People forget about Mighty Mouse because unfortunately he's a smaller guy. He's 125 pounds, flyweight.
Again, if you're just joining us, we're just speeding through the fight talk.
He's one of the greatest expressions of mixed martial arts I've ever seen. I think to this day.
And Khabib.
Khabib's fantastic. But if you looked at like accomplishments in terms of championship fights, Khabib retired 29-0, but he didn't have as
And
many world
probably never
championship
lost a
fights.
round. They
He
say
might have lost to Gleison Tebow. He might have lost to him. He might have lost a round. And that was a controversial fight where people think that Gleison Tebow could have even got the decision in that fight. I'd have to go back and watch again to make a decision. But
they're great athletes.
oh, the best athletes in the world, and the most dangerous sport in terms of like I always call it high level problem solving with dire physical consequences.
Except we just had a long conversation about us. Nobody's died in it, and people have died in wrestling and boxing. But play on, player.
It's just brutal.
That's what fighting is.
You know, I never forget. So there was a fighter named James Tony.
Oh yeah, I love
And
James Tony.
he fought as
I can't even. I can't.
Real
Even.
Coach just took him down.
Yeah, James, he-
In an MMA first. Others can only compete. Yes, it's unfortunate, but Gregor had his fractures all over the shin and calcium connected. So
to go with
for Kennedy.
Right.
And I love this.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Back in action,
Yeah, more
gentlemen
stuff came out of
and
his nose.
ladies.
Yes, it was pretty nasty, but no, I'm very used to it. I just wanted
That's
him to
great.
be able to express
You've
himself.
done a great.
Hey, we got VHS 201 in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Some people forget about Fear Factor, and I mean, I never forgot about Fear Factor. I just felt like the level of fame and connections that he would have gotten from Fear Factor is nothing close to the connections that he has with the UFC. But again, that's why the question is not would it be the same? Would it still be iconic? It could be way less successful than this and still be iconic. Welcome to the party. So Ezra said, you know, when they filmed Flash, they didn't have to use any CGI because Ezra was really running that fast from the cops. Hey, there we go. Right.
Out of his nose.
Yes, it was pretty
Right.
nasty, but no, I'm very used to it. I just wanted
That's
him to
great.
be able to express
You've
himself.
done a great job.
Thank you.
You've done
Thank
a
you.
great job.
So back to you and back
There
to
we go.
What are you? And first of all, I love this idea of you teaming up with Robert Kennedy,
Right.
and I love this "Make America Healthy Again" idea because there are chemicals and ingredients.
Look how fucking big he is. They're in the same kind of chair. He's just ginormous. And I mean, I know Rogan's kind of a small dude, not compared to me, but you know.
In our food that are illegal in other countries because they've been shown to be toxic. There's pesticides and herbicides, and there's a lot of shit that's been sprayed on our food that really is unnecessary. And there's a lot of health consequences that people are suffering from a lot of these things. And
I brought this chart for you
beautiful.
because I had a feeling you'd be asking me.
Thank
Look
you.
at this chart. These are healthier countries. Look where the United States is. I'm going to send this to RFK Jr. Look
So
at that.
this is something along the. I was actually talking to RFK today, and he told me that more than 70% of young men are ineligible for the military because of their health.
What?
Well, I got to hear that number again, but really quick. We'll shout out our boy, Unwanted Bo. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, I missed that number. What did he just say?
Something along the. I was actually talking to RFK today, and he told me that more than 70% of young men are ineligible for the military because of their health.
So maybe that line about, dealing with our foreign adversaries more than the enemy within, maybe it's more of a talking point. 70%? 70%. What percentage of the population do we need for a functioning military? Because if we only need 20%, you know what I mean? Joe is definitely one of us. Yep. Oh, that yummy Red 40 and the fructose corn syrup. Don't forget about, all of the sugar-free stuff with the aspartame. That's the good stuff.
More than 70% of young men are ineligible for the military because of their health.
I could see it.
That's
a lot
crazy.
A lot of it's obesity.
So here's the life expectancy versus health expenditure.
Same chart.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
USA.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Jamie's the best.
He's very good.
He's the best.
But but look at that. Look where
at
the USA is.
It's not good. And
they
that's our
spend all that
food.
money.
That's our diet. That's sedentary lifestyle. That's our diet. That's the chemicals we ingest. That's what that is.
But RFK is going to be very, I think he's a great guy.
I love the fact that you guys teamed up.
Yeah.
And are you completely committed to have him a part of your administration?
Oh, I am. But the only thing I want to be a little careful about with him.
I actually disagree with that. I think he plays the character really well. And again, I don't know a lot of what, I only know the Flash as Ezra Miller, but I think he embodied the character well. But just too much. I wasn't gonna pay for it, but I already paid for Netflix, so ain't nobody getting hurt.
Them is the environmental, because he doesn't like oil. I love oil and gas. I think
Just keep him
drill,
out.
baby, drill.
I said focus on
Anybody who does not like drilling, do not like the video. Do not like the video if you don't like drilling.
health. Focus. You can do whatever you want, but I got to be a little bit careful with the liquid gold.
I understand. But listen, there's plenty of good work that could be done if you focus on health.
Here's the one that my all-time favorite though.
What is that?
See the arrow right here? That's what I love.
Immigration chart.
That is pressuring you to not work with him. Have there been people
not
that
work with who?
RFK Jr.?
Yes.
Yes, I would imagine, because financially he could put it down.
I would say that, and I think in many ways they've done a good job. In many ways they've done a bad job. But I would say that the big pharma wasn't thrilled when they heard that. I have a relationship. I've actually always gotten along very well with him. I've known him a long time. He's a different kind of a guy. He's very smart, great guy. And he's very sincere about this. I mean, he really is, he thinks we spend a fortune on pesticides and all this stuff. And then you end up, that chart is a terrible chart. The one previous, it's such a bad chart when you look at where we are compared to other countries that don't spend 10 cents.
Right.
So, and you save a lot of money. But yeah, I've had some people that aren't exactly thrilled. You can imagine, right?
Sure.
It's a good question, actually.
Well, certainly if
it doesn't affect me.
Some pharmaceutical drugs that have been prescribed that have negative consequences.
Really quick, guys, I just want to say I did not expect this, but if Joe was never with the UFC, would JRE still be iconic? We are now at a 50-50 split. So if you've not got your voting in, get your vote in. I wasn't going to keep that up, but we got to break that tie.
These people have been profiting off of. And then you have a guy like RFK Jr. who spends an enormous amount of time highlighting those things. You could say how they've been very reluctant to have you support him.
I would say that's an understatement. Yes.
Yeah. So what do you do to stop that from getting in the way?
Well, look.
Tell them to shut the fuck up and get out of my way.
They've come up with some amazing things. I mean, I don't know how you feel. I know you're against certain vaccines, but like the polio vaccine, people had polio. It was like a disaster. And they came up, Dr. Salk, and he came up with a vaccine, and there's no polio. Now,
apparently on the Fight Companion that Joe did, what day is it? Is it Monday or is it Tuesday? No, it's Sunday. Yeah, so the Fight Companion they did last night, he was talking about how that's not exactly true with the polio vaccine, that there was some issue with it. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Excuse me. Carl said, my wife and I have been getting rid of cooking utensils and nonstick pans, checking our food for bioengineering. That's the way to go. Bingo. That's the way to go.
Interesting. There hasn't been polio, but now in the Gaza Strip, can you believe that? Have you heard that? There's been a big strain of polio coming out in the Gaza Strip.
Is it vaccine-derived polio? Because, there's a strain of polio that comes directly from the vaccine. Because unfortunately, sometimes when we vaccinate people for polio, you have to give them polio.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
I mean, all I can do is I sit down and I listen to him and I'll give.
So that's what he was talking. He was like, I didn't want, I had a lot of stuff that I wanted to get to. I didn't want to go down a rabbit hole on one thing, knowing that I might only have this opportunity. And we are 2 hours into a 3-hour discussion.
Total. I would love him to be right, because if he's right, it's a lot less expensive generally.
There's two things that people point to when they point to the dangers of the pharmaceutical drug industry. One thing,
Teflon, all that non-stick stuff comes out. It doesn't last forever. So when you cook it, then it cooks into your food.
Is when pharmaceutical drugs were allowed to advertise on.
I mean, if somebody knows, I know that's as far as I know. Yeah, no, like scientifically, definitely educate us. But yeah, that non-stick stuff is bullshit. I mean, it works until it doesn't.
Of the pharmaceutical drug industry. One thing is when pharmaceutical drugs were allowed to advertise on television. We're only one of 2 countries in the world that allow pharmaceutical drugs to advertise on TV. The other one's New Zealand, but they're more restrictive than we are. People are worried.
Those ads, when you hear take a certain drug,
and then you hear all
and
the
then you
consequences.
Say it causes cancer and baldness. We don't like baldness.
Suicidal
and
ideation.
This and that and eyesight, and you can lose your vision.
Yeah.
And I actually asked one of these guys, I would never take. I mean, because there's things that are so bad. They go through a whole list. I guess they save some liability, but man. I said, does that affect the purchase? And they say it really does. When there's something you have and you read, and then they go through the list of
side effects,
the potential side. It's not even the potential side effects. Right. I mean, a lot of people are just. I asked that question. People hear that. When I hear it, I'm going to take a pass. It says may affect your vision, may cause blindness, may this.
Yes. But I know you're aware of Callie and Casey means, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
and so this would have been. I just remember that I didn't hear a big discussion about warp speed and the COVID vaccine and all that stuff. I just, from when I originally watched this, but this would have been the opportunity to really punch down on that. So all of this, then why was the vaccine such a, or why did you, while you were still in office, rely so heavily on the vaccine? Not saying that it was bad that the vaccine was made. Not saying that it wasn't an incredible feat of science that the vaccine was made, assuming that they didn't already work on it and all that shit. But like, let's just hear him articulate that, like, yeah, okay, either I made the mistakes and I'm not going to make mistakes again for this reason, or whatever it is. Let's just hear it. I want to hear it. Yeah, shout out to Cast Irons. There's a funny video of I'm sure there's plenty of videos of stuff like this where like the wife will wash the cast iron. It's like, no, why? Oh, the flavor.
One of the things that they pointed out, and this is a very important thing for people to understand, is what a lot of these drugs do is they act to somehow or another mitigate the effects of poor metabolic health. But most of these problems that these people are suffering from wouldn't exist if we put an emphasis on metabolic health. If people got healthier, they started eating nutritious food and taking vitamins, a whole host of these problems that people are having would go away. And the problem with that from the pharmaceutical drug standpoint is they wouldn't.
We can't sell you the solution if there is no problem.
Be able to sell drugs to these people, and this is a
and
fear
the
that a lot of people
pesticides
have.
and things like that on the plants. And what do you think of that?
It's terrible. Well, I think regenerative agriculture, unfortunately, is very difficult to scale to a point where you got a Jack in the Box on every corner.
Right, that's right.
If everybody wants food, and we have food deserts, and we have places like Los Angeles where no one's growing anything, and everything has to be shipped in, and it's very difficult to feed that many people. We've created this incredible society where we have these enormous cities, but it's very difficult to get food to these people. And then for a lot of these people in low-income areas, the only food that's available is cheap, unhealthy food.
That's right.
And we could fix that. That's if we could send $175 billion to Ukraine, we could do something to fix a lot of the health problems that the United States has.
If Gavin Newsom can clear up San Francisco in a day, we can do anything.
And I think it would help us as a nation overall. It's just if you just put it out there that, hey, as a nation, we're going to make a concerted effort to get people healthier. Just put it out there.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how are you against being healthy? And they'd be like, yeah, oh my God, that's white supremacy.
And people start making better choices.
Well, when you look at that chart,
It's crazy.
They just gave me that chart because they said you may want to discuss this topic, which I know is a big topic for you. And when I looked at that chart and I looked at how unhealthy we are as a nation, that's a pretty big thing.
How are you so healthy? Is it golf?
Joe, you are healthy. Trump's doing fine. I don't know if I would use the word healthy. Virile, energetic, sure. Healthy. I don't know about that.
Unhealthy we are as a nation. That's a pretty big thing.
How are you so healthy? Is it golf?
No, it's genetics, I believe. I'm a big
Genetics
believer.
has a big
The
factor.
Mickey Mantle gene.
I really am. I mean, my father was.
Unfortunately, it is a big factor for health. Some people are just way more robust, but you do play golf a lot, and that is exercise.
Both of my parents. For me, it's good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it works for him, and he clearly does have the genetics to be able to survive on well-done steaks, Mickey D's, and Diet Coke. But not the same thing.
Fresh air.
It really is. It's fresh when you're outside. Even mentally, you're focused on that 3-footer, and for a couple of hours, you're not. And I go quick. I play fast, real fast, and I'm in, I'm out. But it gives me.
That's what she said.
I was never one that could like run on a treadmill. And I can do it.
No, really.
When passing a physical, they asked me to run on a treadmill, and then they make it steeper and steeper and steeper. And the doctor said it was at Walter Reed. They said, it's unbelievable. I could have gone, I'm telling you, I felt I could have gone all day. But I said, Doc, I can do it.
I'm gonna hit you up for some venison. I'm gonna hit you up. I've been dying to find a hunter friend because I ain't been like that. But like I had a moral quandary a while ago, when I was going through all this atheist stuff and figuring out my morals and all that. And I realized that I really do have an issue with the way that factory farming works. And so I was legitimately thinking about, like, should I become a vegan? And I was like, I'm already too small. I need that protein, all that stuff. But I looked into at the time, lab grown meats was that industry was developing. It seems like it's been taken over by the establishment, but it was at the time it seemed reasonable. So I was like, all right, I'll wait for that. And then, hey, if we know anybody that's got some deer meat or some elk meat or whatever, hit me up. Hit me up.
Unbelievable. I could have gone, I'm telling you, I felt I could have gone all day, but I said, Doc, I can do this all day long. I have no problem, but it's boring to me. Do you understand?
Right.
It's just boring.
Golf's exciting.
But I did it for so long. They couldn't believe it that I did it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. He really loves his shit. He loves his fast food. Maybe it's just a way to kind of appeal to, like, oh, I'm just a regular guy. Maybe. But some people just have that taste. They're just like, I fucking like McDonald's. Fuck you. I'm going to do what I want. And he doesn't seem to be ashamed of that. He doesn't seem to be trying to dissuade anybody of that notion. So maybe. But if so, it's smart to lean into the McDonald's for sure.
And I never, I don't do it. I don't really, I have friends that run this stuff all day long, but I had no problem doing it. But it's really boring. So with golf or something, or tennis or whatever.
Right.
But golf, as you get older, there's something really good about it, and you have competition with your friends. And,
concentration, focus.
And it's a great handicap sport.
And it's also a thing, I think.
Let's go. Oh, I didn't mean to hit the steel, but let's go. There we go. Things at another timeline. Your channel is the vegan Indian Jesus, and the world is different. I don't know. Self-Numna said, do people like Trump have no common traits or tendencies to the common people? Of course he does. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you don't live in any way. Like, motherfucker may shit on a golden toilet, but he still takes a shit.
I think it cleans your mind, because when you're looking at a shot, that's all you can think of when you're executing.
It gives you a couple of hours. It's interesting. Like with tennis, if you're much better than somebody, you can't really play with somebody. It doesn't work. You can give them sort of the equivalent of strokes, right? But it's not this. With golf, you can play with a lousy guy and give him a stroke a hole or 2 strokes a hole or something. It's a good handicapping sport.
Right.
Love those strokes.
But it gives me a little exercise. But I haven't played in a long time. I won a lot. I won 32 club championships.
Didn't you play right after you got shot?
No.
What you mean a different timeline? Jokes.
What I did is I played with Bryson DeChambeau. Do you know Bryson?
Yes.
The pro.
Uh-huh.
He's a great player. And we played, it was a certain thing that we played, I guess called breaking 50 or something. 50 would play from a certain tee, and if you can break 50. And it got tremendous ratings. It was sort of like a crazy thing. He's a great guy.
But wasn't that like a couple of days after you got shot?
I don't know. I know I had
that was one of the...
I plead the fifth.
Funniest things you were on the golf course.
I think I did. Yeah, maybe I did. But I view it very interestingly. I'm running for president of the United States. To me, it's such a big deal. It's so important. So I've got now
biggest deal in the free world.
It's 100 times bigger than the Super Bowl, and it's one person.
Yeah.
So you're down to 2 people, and we start off at 9 billion, because you have 9 billion, they say, in the world. Who knows what that number is? But you get down to 350 million. Sadly, we have no idea what we have in this country, but let's assume it's 325, 350, and you're down to 2 people. It's the biggest thing in the world. And when I heard she took off yesterday, and she took off the day before, and she's going to take off tomorrow or the next day, I haven't taken a day off in 56 days. That's a long time. I haven't taken one day off. I don't want to play golf. This is too exciting. Golf is great, but this is too exciting. This is more exciting than anything you can do.
Secrets.
And
also, it's the home stretch.
It's the home stretch. Who would take a day off? So we have 11 days left now.
Kamala would.
Oh, man. And
Am said a quick meal on the go is one thing, but he has chefs and owns buildings he lives in. Come on, people. It's also in a Betty Johnson video. His chefs cook for him gourmet burgers, of course. Duh. Well, there you go. There you go. The exact McDonald's recipe.
Home stretch. Who would take a day off? So we have 11 days left now. And think of it. So I think I've gone 54, 55 days in a row. No days off. And I make speeches oftentimes, sometimes not, but I make speeches. And when you make a speech, and my speeches last a long time because of the weave, I weave stories into it. And if you just read a teleprompter, nobody's going to be very exciting. You got to weave it out. So but you
Weave it out, weave it out, weave it out. Hey, weave
Jeff,
it
as
out.
you say, you always have to get right back to work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's no good. But the weave is very, very important. Very few weavers around. But it's a big strain on your.
Weaver, a barely even knower.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You got to be careful with the voice. You can lose that voice. The voice wasn't designed. I said today, so I made a big one last night. I was in Las Vegas. A big one the night before in Arizona. Big one. I mean, they're all big. We have there's never been anything like it in terms of crowd. Never been close. Never been close. They say, he talks about crowds. You know what's very interesting? So.
Very cute. Very demure.
We get crowds that are really big. And I say, I've never had a story, because I don't get good press. I don't think I've had a good story in years. I really don't. I swear, I don't think you were talking about it a little bit with Oprah.
McDonald's was a good story. That's about it.
Everybody loved me. I don't think I became president of the United States. I did great the second time. I did much better. I don't want to get you in any disputes, but I won that second election so easy, and not just because.
But let me get to that.
He has talked about this. And said, "I wonder if he'll remove farmers' ability to advertise directly to the people." I heard RFK talking about how he discussed that with Trump. So that is absolutely on the table, and I think it's just us in New Zealand that's allowed to do that. How about not? I'm, as much as I'm for, getting rid of government regulations, I'm not an anarchist.
I want to talk to you about that. But
here's the thing. I did that, and now I've gotten the nomination again. And don't forget, to get these nominations, you go against very smart people. Ron DeSantis was hot. You had to go through him. Nikki Haley was hot. You had
so hot
to go through her. I went through everybody. Record time, right? Record time. I got 3 nominations in a row. Won the first time, did much better the second time. I get millions of votes more the second time.
Well, I was going to bring up how it's interesting how in 2 elections, he has beat 3 people. He beat Hillary, he beat Jill, and assuming he's going to beat Kamala. 2 elections, 3 ops down.
Won the first time, did much better the second time. I get millions of votes more the second time. And now I'm doing it a third time. And it's an incredible thing. I never get a good story. I only get bad press. Now, I will say this. It's a lot easier if you're a Democrat. If I were a Democrat.
I don't want to hear that. I do not want to hear that. I don't care. We know that. That's why we support you. We know that. We know that. Your strength is pushing through that. You don't get to, well, then they're not nice to me. Nope. Miss me with that shit. I get it. That's why I support you. You comfortable? Anyway, yeah, I don't want to hear. That's why it's a good thing that he stopped really bringing up 2020 and well, they did this and they did that. I don't care. You are not in the White House. We need to look forward. I don't care if the media is nice to you. None of us fucking watch that shit. That's the reason that you are here. We are watching this. We are watching you. We know what's good. So I don't like it. I don't really like it.
And now I'm doing it a third time. And it's an incredible thing. I never get a good story. I only get bad press. Now, I will say this. It's a lot easier if you're a Democrat. If I were a Democrat,
you get a lot of positive press.
I would get a lot of positive press.
No, it's a creepy, corrupt business. And the media, to a large extent, acts as a propaganda arm for the Democratic Party.
It's not even believable.
Yeah, it's bizarre to watch. And most young people, I think, are aware of it. I think most boomers still, unfortunately, read the newspapers.
Drop a link in the Discord, buddy.
And believe in CNN.
But it's getting younger. Let me tell you, it's getting for us, for a conservative.
Yes.
And I consider myself a person.
It's the internet. It's because the internet's giving people information that they're not getting from anywhere else. Yep. And they like the very fine people hoax, the Russiagate hoax, all these different things that they've done. They tried to pin on you. That's like, it's a clear distortion of what you actually said.
The bloodbath hoax.
Yeah,
I was talking about the auto industry.
Yes.
It's a bloodbath because Japan and China are taking our auto. And I said, it's a bloodbath. They said, he used the word bloodbath.
He said, if you don't win, it's going to be a bloodbath.
That's
right.
They're
going to take over.
Right.
That's exactly
it's a terrible thing.
Imagine going back to 2004 and telling people that the Fear Factor guy and the Apprentice host talking on a podcast would be the biggest political broadcast in the current age. The writers of Earth are on their last legs. It is wild out here. And and that is Trump. Wild. Am said we start treating it like it's nonsense because it is, and stop coddling the toddlers. Oh, we're talking about the Charlie stuff. Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of people make fun, even fucking Sailor was making fun of Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro for always talking to college students. And I will be honest, Ben is kind of past his prime. And he maybe needs to pass on the torch. I will, you know what? Actually, let's bring this up really quick, just because we are here. If you didn't see that, it's been going around. There is, here, I'll just bring this right here. We have oh yeah, this one. So one Republican versus 25 Kamala Harris voters. So that's what they're talking about. But I just shared this in the thing, and it'd probably be smarter to just do that. But
there's a series on YouTube produced by the channel Jubilee, where one person sits in a circle surrounded by 20 or 30 people who disagree with them. And the people in the circle take turns debating the guy in the middle. Charlie Kirk went viral a couple weeks ago when he took on 25 woke college students and debated them and did quite well. This week, Ben Shapiro was the latest conservative commentator on the chopping block. Clips of his debates with 25 Kamala Harris voters are going extremely viral all over social media, which as a side note means it's only a matter of time before someone on our PR team tries to convince me to do this too. And I'll just tell them ahead of time, the answer is no. I am not doing this. Don't even bother bringing it to my office. I know you're going to. You'll probably do it today. I don't have the patience required to engage in that many conversations with that many idiots.
I just thought that was funny. And assuming we do have a DW, well, whatever. As we will be covering Am I Racist in full, at least to start, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because a lot of people will talk about how, people like Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, they need college students in order to look good because, they're just looking to scrape the bottom of the barrel. And I think Am is absolutely right here and acting as if these are not voters. These are adults. These are people who will cast a vote and cancel yours out. So once you enter that realm, that's it. All bets are off. Oh, well, you're a college kid. Well, Charlie didn't go to college. So why aren't you smarter? Who doesn't like that? Who doesn't? King said the trans fella going in on Shapiro was cringe. Oh my god, it was so cringe. I have it right here. If I have it right here, we'll watch it just because, like, Jesus Christ, it was so bad. Come on, no, I don't have it right here. I thought I had it, but just the cringiest cringe of all cringe. Saw them up. Said, you hear that kid dropped out of Timcast the same week? His name was Dean. Dean. Oh, wait, what? He dropped out? Wait, that Dean kid was going to go on Timcast and then dropped out? Of course! Fuck that little... Can't say that on YouTube. Join the Discord to find out what I really think.
That they said, he used the word bloodbath.
He said if you don't win, it's going to be a bloodbath because they're going to take over.
Right.
That's exactly
it's a terrible thing they do.
But that's the problem with propagandists because they take things out of context. And ultimately what they do is they diminish their own credibility because people don't want to listen to them anymore because they see that they've done that and they recognize what's going on and they feel insulted. Their intelligence is getting
look at
insulted.
the ratings.
Yes.
Shows like yours. So I have a son who's very smart and tall, Baron, right? And he knows all about you. He knows about guys I never heard of. He said, Dad, you don't know how big they are. They're big. He told me how big. I said, who the hell is he? Like Ross. He said, Dad, he's a great guy. I mean, guys that are doing,
Ross?
It's a whole new world out there.
Who is Ross? Ross? What?
It's a different world. And
but, I'm on TikTok now.
Congratulations.
And I've done really well. No, but the crazy.
Donald Trump's doing it, guys. I am telling you. I am telling you. I'm telling you. You're missing out.
Have you seen the numbers of billions of hits? It's crazy.
I'm sure TikTok's a wild application.
And I've gone up 30 points. A Republican is always down 30 with young people. I'm plus 30. And I'm on TikTok.
I think
had a huge impact.
Young people are rejecting a lot of this woke bullshit.
Yeah,
young people are tired of being yelled at and scolded. They're tired of these people that they think are mentally ill, telling them what the moral standards of society should be today. People are upset.
There's a big difference now, but even in just a couple of years, I was shaking hands with people. They're young people.
The rebels are Republican.
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look. We'll do. I know they're gonna claim it. Ben Shapiro trans Jubilee. Well, it's right here. I don't know why I don't just do the thing.
In this country right now, 300,000.
Are they gonna give us the thing with the thing? Come on, baby. I'd imagine. No? Okay. I was like, is it the highlight? Of course it's the highlight. And of course, we're going to like the video because Jubilee, please, just, okay, hey, look who we got, our boy, Quam Tech. Welcome to the party. And oh man, also, when I get saying I can't have my female right to abortion. No. Too late, motherfucker. We are here. Oh yeah. Buckle up. The draft. And more recently, the fucking vaccine mandates. You moron.
I've got a vagina.
Nobody cares.
I'm sorry. I hate to say it to you.
Oh, honey, you think he cares? No, he doesn't know who you are. Oh, you care so much about me, like clearly, because you talk about things and I fit in that group. So you care so much about me. I don't get it. And really quick, we're talking about this guy, right? Dean? This guy, yeah, this guy. Because you're a woman. That's not the law. That's physics and biology. You are very angry at things that you have no control over. Well, this person immediately stood out to me when they stepped up. Something just seemed off, and they mentioned, and then they mentioned they were trans. The uncanny valley is real. And it's almost like flipping the chair around to show I'm a real man, because that's what men do. It's almost like a direct proof, direct evidence that all transing is stereotyping the opposite sex in this binary game of sex. You look at the other sex and you look at a bunch of stereotypes and you do that, and that's true. That's trans. Her hips do not. They definitely don't. Oof.
As a man, you're really moving around terminology very wildly here,
And so are you, because that's the tactics.
Is he though? He hasn't really said anything, so I'm just no. You.
You play in your game, and you've done it the entire time.
She's like, oh, queen. I mean, king, because you're definitely a man. Oh.
Jump from one subject to the next. You speak so fast, and I know how you work. So how's it feel to have it in your face?
Projection. If you were to go to somebody like Destiny, who's made his name on just rattling things off quickly when he gets frustrated, if you were going to go and be like, okay, well, I'm going to do the same thing and actually rattle off facts or points, then you might have a point there. But just saying things fast is not the same thing as making a point and doing it quickly. You moron.
Oh, well, I mean,
because I'm sick and tired of the shit that you have put against my community, especially black trans women. Because you constantly disregard all of our needs and then use us politically as a pawn.
So we can continue this capitalistic society. I am 1000% in favor of that. As I said, to be fair, I probably wouldn't be looking at his love handles. Yeah, me neither, but I am going to trust Amp. One of them said, quote, ignore it being against trans because there's these other issues. What? That don't make no sense. Let's make women great again. This definitely is not the greatness of women. This is the downfall of what women could be. All of these, you're just bad at being a man because you're not. You're not. And that's okay that you feel weird. We all feel weird about some stuff. But clearly, this beard ain't fucking helping you because you are an angry little fuck. Or big fuck. But you're a big ass angry fuck. So, you know, matriarchy. All right, let's just shout out to Michael W. Welcome to the party. There are cogs in our evil machines.
And including my entire community and the intersectionalities of Black women, men
What are
that
you
experience
talking
SA,
about?
trans people.
I will give anybody $100 to boil down what she is saying into a something that makes sense. Who cares about statistics?
At the end of the day, if you are harming the entire American.
What is that? What is that? What are you doing? You already are wearing a bucket hat with a giraffe with a bucket hat. And that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. Your personality is so lacking that a bucket hat with a giraffe that's wearing a bucket hat needs adornment. What?
American. This guy's been accused of rape. Trump.
So has Biden. And Biden's a lot more believable.
In like court documents.
And Kamala's sucking dicks all the way to the top.
And you're backing the guy. Like, you have children. How could you do that to your own? Don't you have a daughter?
So it's almost like if you actually ask that question, maybe, just maybe, you'd get an answer. But you're just so convinced of what you already believe that you have the man sitting in front of you. All the grievances that you could ever possibly want to get out. He is right there. And instead of doing that, you do what we just saw. Okay, dude.
Republicans now. So like, you want to be a rebel, you want to be punk rock, you want to like buck the system. You're a conservative now. That's how crazy. And then the liberals are now pro silencing criticism. They're pro censorship online. They're talking about regulating free speech and that regulating the First Amendment. It's bananas to watch.
Joe, they come after their political opponent.
Well,
I got more guys. I always say, I kid, but I'm not kidding. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the meanest of them all. He'd kill you in 2 seconds if he didn't like you, right? I've been under investigation more than Alphonse Capone, only because it's political opponent stuff. And I've won. I won the big case in Florida. I'm winning the other stuff. You win. But you know what they did? They did something that's only done in third world countries. They came after their political opponent.
Yes.
I could have put Crooked Hillary in jail.
Well, not only that.
And you should have.
Yeah, but they're never
I mean, maybe not, but still.
Weaponizing it by saying that that's what you were going to do once you get in office.
Isn't it
by ignoring what they're doing right now. It's crazy.
I heard it. Somebody was defending me today. They said, no, they say that's what you're doing to him. They're going, he's going to put us in jail. He's going to invest.
Where is Steve Bannon right now? He's at home, and no, he's at his vacation house, or no, he's at not Epstein Island, definitely. Oh, he's in jail.
That's what you're doing to him.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, will you do that? Will you do that to him?
Yeah, and I exactly why I think Ben did that. You can see when there's somebody who's too far gone, and this is not going to. There's nothing I can say to this person, and just like, okay, dude.
That's what you're doing to him.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, will you do that? Will you do that to him if you win? It's the presidency has tremendous power. I could have.
They certainly deserve. Oh, did I save that? Please let me have saved this. God damn it. Why am I not saving this shit? I don't remember what this is. I think this might be it. Either way. Okay, this wasn't what I was looking for, but let's just see. 100 doctors on stage at KH. I don't know, but liberal abortion doctors. I don't remember what this is. Play. What the fuck?
We became doctors to take care of people. Nationwide.
I do remember this.
I think someone needs some medical assistance over here.
There's 100 doctors on the stage.
Are they getting someone? Medical assistance?
See how much better it sounds? God damn it, we got to get that shit fixed. That's the difference between when the sound actually comes through. Beautiful. Come on, man. Anyway, I don't know what it was that I don't have it. But anyway, there was something there that was relevant to that. I don't remember what we were saying. Moving on. No. That is definitely unprofessional. But now it is unprofessional not to. That's how culture works.
You do that. Will you do that to him? To them, if you win, it's the presidency has tremendous power. I could have put crooked Hillary.
I respected that you didn't, because what you said was it would be bad for the country.
No, I can't. I couldn't even imagine. You have, first of all, Secretary of State, but more importantly, the wife of the president of the United States of America going into jail. And
they just said, fuck it. We don't care. We don't care how bad it is for the country. We don't care. We don't care. We're doing it anyway because we don't give a shit about you. Give a shit about us.
If you ever saw when I'd say something about her, they'd all say, I didn't say it. I never said it. They say, lock her up, lock her. And I'd always go, take it easy. Just relax. We're going to win this thing. Take it easy. Take it easy. And I'm telling you, I kept it down, just the opposite. Now they say, oh, Trump wanted to put her in jail. No, I saved her from going to jail. They had more stuff on her. And Comey had it, because when Comey got up, and he stupidly, because he's a stupid guy too, he goes, he's a stupid son of a bitch. He got up, Joe, he got up. And instead of saying she's innocent of all charges, he went over each charge. And each charge was a killer. And he go, and as far as her doing this, she's innocent. And this, and then she's only an unfair prosecutor for it. We go, but every time you heard these charges, they sounded so bad. They were bad. And all it was is he wanted more airtime. If he would have gone up and said, I've thoroughly investigated Hillary Clinton and she's done nothing that we feel is wrong, it would have ended. Instead, he wanted to be up there because he's a PR hound. Loser. He's a hog. And he starts going through and you know what he had? They had a huge problem because FBI is great. The people there, not the top people, the real people, the people that work there. It's like the real generals that I told you about that defeated ISIS in record time. The FBI guys are great. I'll bet you I'd be at 95% in the FBI.
I said, shit, me too.
But that's right.
Underneath.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. So he goes with Hillary, and instead of just saying, he goes through each charge.
Right.
And even I was saying, man, those are bad charges.
Sounds terrible, because
this is before I got
with those charges.
Don't forget, this is before I got there.
Right.
Now, he was trying to protect her, but he did her a great disservice.
Because he wanted attention.
He was stupid.
So I want to talk about 2020, because you said over and over again that you were robbed in 2020.
Yeah, totally.
How do you think you were robbed? Everybody always cuts.
What do you mean? What is Hugay? Hugay? Why would he say Hugay? It's huge. What is Hugay?
You off. I'm going to allow.
Well, they not only cut you off. Well, what I'd rather do is we'll do it another time. And I would bring in papers.
You're like, what?
You would not believe, so many different papers. That election was so crooked. It was the most crooked election.
Okay, but give me some examples of how.
Well,
guys, as we get into the examples, please do me that huge favor. Please just hit that share button, take the URL, plaster it wherever you can, guys. It does not matter. It does not matter if you don't think anybody is going to click on the link. That does not matter. Just the act of you sharing it does so much good for this channel. It really, really will. It just takes 1 second. Please. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much.
Let's start from the top and the easy ones.
Okay.
They were supposed to get legislative approval to do the things they did, and they didn't get it. In many cases, they didn't get it.
What things?
Anything.
Legislative approval,
like for extensions of the voting, for voting earlier, for this, for all different things. By law, they had to get legislative approvals. You don't have to go any further than that. If you take a look at Wisconsin, they virtually admitted that the election was rigged, robbed, and stolen. They wouldn't give access in certain areas to the ballots because the ballots weren't signed. They weren't originals. We could go into this stuff. We could go into the ballots, or we could go into the overall. I'll give you another one.
Are you going to present this ever? Like, do you think? Like,
let me just give you one more before.
That was a tough question. That should have been. I mean, like, if I had this if I was very confident in this, I would absolutely want to have some type of thing to present. That's a really good question, and the fact that it doesn't have an answer there, not good. Not good. Gonzaga said, just be glad you don't have the dreaded Ohio Arsh Hey boy, when are you gonna wash the dishes? That makes me think of what's that show? I don't know. I can't think of it. Come on. I don't know. It's not there. I'll come back to it. Sizemore said that was deer in the headlights for sure. Not ideal.
I'm gonna present this
let me,
ever. Like, what do you think? Like,
let me just give you one
okay,
more before. 51 intelligence agents come up that the laptop was from Russia. It turned out to be totally false.
51 former intelligence agents, right?
They say that I don't believe it's this much, but it doesn't matter. I lost by I didn't lose, but they say I lost, Joe, they say I lost by 22,000 votes. That's like 1/10 of 1%, less than that. It's a tiny little thing. 22,000 votes spread over, that's spread over this period. So 51 intelligence.
Okay, but if I'm playing devil's advocate, that's still losing.
Agents lied. They lied. They knew it was. It was Hunter's. It was from his bed. It was Hunter's laptop. They said it was created by Russia. It was the Russia hoax. The Russia hoax was a big hoax. It was all a big hoax. So
well, that's clear. That's one example. That is a good example.
That's a big example. They say it made a 17-point difference. That's a big example. But that's only one. And you could go into the ballots where they wouldn't give you access to the ballots. You could go into the ballot harvesting. You could go into $500 million for the lock boxes.
But
but you have to do that. You're not doing that. That's what you are here for, Trump. To go into the $500 million for lock boxes. To go into that's what you're here for. That's what we have 3 hours for. We want to be on your side. We are on your side. But if you can't even articulate it when directly asked, no bullshit, no fake news, you're just sitting at a table with a guy. I mean, it is not a strong look.
You could go.
Look at all these examples that he gives.
Well, that's clear.
That's a good example. 17% of people. That's a very big. That's a very big deal. The laptop. Okay, we got the laptop.
One example. That is a good example.
That's a big example. They say it made a 17-point difference. That's a big example.
Sure.
But that's only one.
Okay.
And you could go into the ballots where
Okay, so let's go into the ballots. Tell me about the ballots. Talk to me about the ballots. What happened with the ballots and why was it wrong? And that is what we are here for. That is what we are here for. And as much as I want to, just take his word for it, as much as it does seem like the way things are set up, that without having the explicit details, that what he's saying does make sense. I would like to understand fully. I would like to at least have your understanding fully, at least have your perspective. Because everything about, like, for example, January 6th, everything was about what if his mindset was this versus that. What his mindset was very relevant to the badness and responsibility that he had on January 6th. Because if he was very aware that all of this is going to happen, it's going down, let him keep going, which I don't know. If I know Trump, which I don't, but I kind of do, I think that he didn't want everybody to riot, and then when he starts seeing riot, he's like, let's let this play out. And if that's not the case, then you, Trump, need to articulate that. You need to give that to the people. He's asking you directly, and you're just not answering. You're just not going into any of these things. And said, when I was suing my ex-employer, I had so much evidence, but it's very difficult to prove intent without clear admission. I ended up settling out of court, but they paid me much more than federal limits due to the evidence I had. So settling often is an indication of how incriminating the proof is. Yeah, definitely. But we're not in court. And so that's why, I trust that they're, when he says you can go into the ballots, that if we were to go into that he would be able to say those things, but he didn't. If he's going to go and say,
they wouldn't give you access to the ballots, you could go into the ballot harvesting.
Okay, what about the ballot harvesting? Tell me about the ballot harvesting. I understand that, there's the concept of cities have a way, ballot harvesting is bad because it it really works in favor of urban areas, all that kind of stuff. And I don't disagree with you, which is why I'm supporting him. But we have to look at things in the way that other people are looking at them, and the average person is going to look at them. This is your opportunity. This is your whole thing. This is your whole thing. And you're here. You're being asked about it, and you're just kind of listing off things and like, let's get on to something else. I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that. So I've said, you've heard about the recounts getting denied. Yep. You heard about the lady that just got prosecuted for uncovering a Dominion machine fraud like so many others. I've not heard about that. Trump does need more direct points, but he's got a lot of people telling him information. He can only take in the headline of the information. I get that. But that's still that is not an acceptable excuse. I understand the reality of that, but I do not care. That's not your job. Is to be able to do it. Your job is to be able to do it. I can understand why you may have not done that here and be willing to forgive that or look past that. But that's bullshit. Fuck you. No, if you want my vote and you're hanging on this thing that you were cheated out of this, then speak about it. Stand on business. I didn't say it makes it false. I said it makes it really bad that you can't articulate it. Am said Trump posted several videos addressing it, but YouTube removed the videos. There's an archive website of all the presidential posts. And fair, but we're not watching that. We're watching Joe Rogan. He's talking to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has asked him about these things. He's made it clear that he wants to get into these things. He's made it clear that, just listing the examples is not enough. He wants to get into and have the discussion. And if you are so confident that you have a point here, that you are right about these things, then why are you just dancing around it? Get into it. Show everybody what exactly went wrong and why it went wrong and what we need to look out for in the coming weeks as this may happen again. That's what I expect from somebody who is, I'm the best, everything's huge, I'm the most amazing. Okay, then be the most amazing, motherfucker. Say the shit. Say the thing. I think that is a reasonable ask. Say the thing.
You could go into $500 million for the lockboxes.
But just in terms of narrative, so there's two things, right? There's the Russia hoax. There's the collusion with Russia that was never proven, right? That's one.
Well, no, it's proven it didn't happen.
Right. Yeah. But they talked about it on television.
But it took 2.5 years to prove.
But not only that, but it was a constant narrative on television. So
Sure.
that's a constant narrative that gets into people's minds, especially low information people that just watch the news, that you're in collusion with Russia. So
why did Joe do that? Why is it Joe who did that? Is Joe running for president or is Trump running for president? Joe just did Trump's job.
That's one.
Sure.
So that changes the narrative. And then you have the 51 former intelligence agents that work with the original Twitter and get them to remove links. You can't share it on DMs. You cannot share that story. They swept that story because they said it was Russian disinformation, even though they knew it was not.
100%.
So that's two examples that are real examples. Now, anyone who considers himself a legitimate, objective observer of American politics, if you really want the best person to win, you would want people to not lie. And the only reason why they got away with this lie was because they continually labeled you as this horrible threat to democracy and Hitler. Yeah. They kept saying you're going to be a dictator, ignoring the fact that you weren't a dictator for the 4 years where you were actually the president.
I was actually the opposite of a dictator. I was a very straight guy. But look, those three things, you take those three things, each one of them by themselves causes the result to be different. Okay?
It does.
And then you can go into 100 other things. There's so many. We can't have corrupt elections and we can't have open borders. You need to have a country. You need borders. You need fair elections. And I'll tell you the other thing you need a free and fair press. One of the things I like about doing a show like this, can you imagine Kamala doing this show?
I could imagine her
she'd be
doing
laying, she'd be laying on the floor.
She was supposed to do it, and she might still do it, and I hope she does.
She's not.
Come on, man. She ain't gonna do this shit.
I could imagine her doing the show.
She'd be laying on the floor.
She was supposed to do it, and she might still do it, and I hope she does.
She's not going to.
I will talk to her.
I hope she does too. I hope she does too. Oh my God, we will definitely not cover that whole thing, but the clips for sure.
If she did this kind of an interview with you, I hope she does, because it would be a mess. She'd be laying on the floor comatose. She'd be saying, call in the medics.
I think we'd have a fine conversation. I think I'd be able to talk to her. I wouldn't try to interview her. I just try to have a conversation with her and hopefully get to know her as a human being. That was my goal.
So I think somebody asked yesterday about would Joe be harder on Kamala than he would with Trump, and that was why I was saying that, because he did address it here, and I did go through this. And said, make waterboarding great again. All right, Obama. God damn it, Obama. All right. We got it.
I think I'd be able to talk to her. I wouldn't try to interview her. I just try to have a conversation with her and hopefully get to know her as a human being. That was my goal, having her on, trying to get her to express herself just as I don't know if I don't think these formats are good. I don't think that two people, first of all, I hate the idea of the presidential debates because I hate the idea of a time limitation on complex ideas. Also, you have to break.
I think you have to have the debates, though.
Right, but the way they do the debates, I think, is the wrong way to do it. I think they should have a conversation. I think you...
Oh, so you're all about that Guantanamo
and
shit.
Kamala, you sit across the table with no one in the room but the two of you.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you're not going to shout at each other. Of course, you're not going to insult each other.
I mean,
yes, motherfucker. That's why I love this motherfucker. Because, yes, we are passionate about this shit. This shit matters. Excuse me for being passionate about how the entire country and effectively the world is going to be run. You're goddamn right. I might yell a little bit. I might get a little bit passionate. But if you can't handle that, then guess what? This ain't the job for you. Of course you're not going to yell at each other. Why? Why? Give me one good fucking reason why.
Across the table with no one in the room but the two of you. Of course, you're not going to shout at each other. Of course, you're not going to insult each other.
I mean, it may get...
I didn't get that. I don't think he is... I think he's essentially doing the same thing with Trump.
Hopefully it wouldn't, but that would be the way to do it.
They used to do it that way.
To put cameras on you with no one interfering with checking whether or not it's factual, especially when it's biased, because they checked you all those times and they didn't check her with clearly things that were inaccurate, right?
So, yeah, because not only does that take the responsibility off of the other candidate to fact check their, what's going on, but it also takes the responsibility off of voters to check what's going on. And so if it's known that it's our responsibility, if that guy lies, like, hey, he's allowed to lie. This is America, Jack. It's your responsibility to check whatever. If we expect that, oh, well, ABC is a broadcaster, so they're not, if they didn't stop, then it must be true. That's bullshit. No, I know he just said that. Joe is interviewing Trump right now, but there are different types of interviews. And what he said was that I would just try to have a conversation with you. And what I am saying with her, and what I am saying is that that is what he's doing with Trump right now. This isn't a straightforward interview where they had a 20-minute thing about fighting and MMA and stuff. That's a conversation. He's saying he would do the same thing.
It's factual, especially when it's biased, because they checked you all those times and they didn't check her with clearly things that were inaccurate, right? So have two people just have a conversation with us without a time constraint. And also this idea they cut off the microphone.
Well,
Guys, somebody break this tie in the poll. 50-50. If Joe was never with the UFC, would JRE still be iconic? Somebody. Oh, we got more votes than people here. All right. Well, hey, if you haven't voted, vote. I'm keeping it up until it breaks the tie.
Crowd?
No crowd. Crazy too, because you're good at working a crowd.
I would rather have a crowd.
Of course you would. You're good at crowds.
But I had no...
I actually agree with that. If they're going to do it in a more conversational style, then get the crowd out of there. Or at least not in a way. Because again, I want them to talk to each other. That's what we need. Get them both in a room and just fucking talk to each other.
So they gave me an alternative. I don't think he wanted to debate.
Why did they want no crowd?
Because I think they thought I wasn't going to accept it. So I believe what they wanted to do is have me not accept. So they gave me a deal I couldn't refuse. And I said, I'll do it. Okay. It's like the mob.
Right.
I'll take it. So they came to me. They said, we'll debate Joe Biden. That thing got tremendous ratings too. That was crazy. But we'll debate Joe Biden, but you can't have a crowd. They also wanted sitting down. I said, that's the only thing. I said, look, you gotta stand up. You can't really sit down.
Right.
In the old days they did sit down a little bit, but
he gets tired.
You got to stand up. And they agreed to it. It was a very tough thing. It almost killed it. They wanted to have like desks. We said, I said, I think we should stand up.
Oh, and the poll has been broken. No, the answer is no, according to you guys, with 17 votes. But I went back to yes. So that really brings us back 50-50. It's a good question. I really don't know.
That was the only thing I asked for. I said, we got to stand up. I thought it looked bad for like the public, but they said no crowd and cut off the mic. And I said, I can live with it. I mean, I can live with it. And they thought I was going to reject it. And then they would say he didn't want to debate Sleepy Joe.
Right.
That's what they thought was going
Well, they tried to say that with you and Kamala as well. They tried to say that you didn't want to debate her as well.
No,
but
by the way, with her, number one, I'm leading. Number two, I didn't, they also said it with the primary. So I had like 10, 12 guys, right? In the primary, no stupid guys. I mean, they're governors and they're senators. They're not stupid people. Some are stupid, but not all of them. And all my guys said, you have to be in the debate. I said, why? I'm leading by 74 points. The closest guy to me, I'm like 60 points, 70 points higher. Why would I stand there like an idiot for 2 hours and let every one of them scream at me? I'm going to be the focus. What?
Right.
And I said, I'm not debating. And it was a very smart thing because, they just killed themselves.
The Republican primaries.
Yeah, the Republican primaries. I like debating. I think you have to debate. But I like
it has
debating.
To be fair.
I like debating the Rosie O'Donnell debate. I like debating remember the Rosie O'Donnell?
Yeah, it was very funny. Megan
crazy. That was a hell of
Put one in the chat if you've not seen the Rosie O'Donnell clip.
a question, man. If I didn't come up with that answer,
It was a great line.
Well, what it was is,
Brilliant.
we had 28,000 people. That was the Cleveland Arena where the Cavaliers played.
Right.
LeBron James. I'm not a big fan of LeBron James, but he is a good basketball player. But
He likes China too much.
that was the
What? Really? You've never seen that? You've never seen that? Oh my God! I am What just happened? Oh, okay. I am disappointed. What were we talking about? Oh, Trump, Rosie. You've definitely seen this. There's no way you have not seen this. I do not believe you. Jesus fucking Christ. I hate Twitter.
One of the things people love about you is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides, in particular when it comes to women. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your
Y'all ready for this?
Twitter account.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Twitter dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
And of course, now we know that Megyn Kelly loves Trump. And speaking of the love, let's give a big shout out to Bookmaster Jero. Welcome to the party, sir. Taking that sponsor spot. Morty, take the food. There you go. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Funkmaster said Joe's commentary on Morty licking his doodads is far more interesting than anything she has to say. Oh my God. Well, he don't have no doodads, but he does have a lipstick. But that's what he's licking, and he's allowed to do whatever he wants. Thank you. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so very much. A pillar of this community. Everybody put FMG in the goddamn chat. Say thank you to this godsend. Thank you so very much, sir. Let's keep this party raging.
come up with that answer.
It was a great line.
Well, what it was is, we had 28,000 people. That was the Cleveland Arena where the Cavaliers played.
Right.
LeBron James. I'm not a big fan of LeBron James, but he is a good basketball player. But, that was and when I said that, the place went crazy. And she kept talking. No, she had like 10 of the.
Yeah. Well, Megyn said you said it to other people and you admitted you did, but it was funny. It was a comedic timing moment.
It was fine.
That's what they want.
Shout out again to FMG. Thank you, sir.
It was lucky I did it because she was drowned. Oh, she wasn't finished that question, but she
Right.
kept talking,
Right,
but you
right,
couldn't hear.
right.
To this day, they don't know what she said, but it wasn't positive. So anyway, but we had a good time.
Well, it's comedic
I think
timing,
it's
and that's
important.
the reason why to have a debate in front of a large audience. And then they
Well, how
probably
did I
thought you
do
would
with the
stack
Al
the
Smith
deck.
thing? I got very
That was
good
great.
reviews on that.
That was great. It was very funny.
got
It's
good
very funny
reviews.
stuff. The Tim Wall stuff was very funny.
Tim Walsh, yeah.
It's funny.
That's a real beauty.
That's a crazy one. She said that she had picked him, and this is one of the questions I want to ask her, when she was sleep deprived. She said she was suffering from sleep deprivation when she picked him, which is just like,
I was
hey, maybe take a nap.
So I was okay. Look, let's see how it all turns out. I think we're going to win. I think we're way ahead now. I think we're way ahead. But
Can I bring you back to
if they
2020?
lose,
Can I bring you back?
I think they're going to look at two things. They're going to say they should have had a primary, even if it was a short primary.
Yes.
They shouldn't have
Notice that he tried to bring it back to 2020, and Trump's like, "Let me keep talking."
picked her. And then she's going to say I shouldn't have picked this guy.
She shouldn't have picked that guy.
That guy's a
just
disaster.
the lying about Tiananmen Square.
Everything.
Admitted that, yeah, the military record, assistant
she
coach
lied, too.
versus
She
head
lied,
coach.
too.
Yes.
Little thing. So I did McDonald's last week.
I saw that.
And I actually got a call from your friends at Google, from Sundar. That's pretty good, right? He said, this is the
Sundar.
biggest thing we've had in years.
You
The
at
hits.
McDonald's?
At McDonald's. Did you know that? It was one of the,
It was funny.
who's a great guy, by the way, but he said, this McDonald's thing, I want to tell you, it's one of the biggest things we've ever had on Google. It just hit. But the reason I did it, and I actually, you never know about this stuff. I thought it was a throwaway.
Mhm.
I didn't think our conversation was a throwaway, but I thought I'd walk in, and that was only to highlight the fact. And I have a friend, he owns like 56 of these McDonald's. And
That she lied. I like the fact that she lied. You guys have definitely seen the picture that's been photoshopped, right? Put one in the chat if you have not seen the photoshopped quote unquote proof of Kamala working at McDonald's.
he said, do you want to use one? I said, yeah, I love it. So we went there, and the crowd was crazy. They had 28,000 people around the whole thing. Did you see the outside? It was crazy. The cars couldn't get through. Secret Service was not exactly thrilled. We had no idea what the hell. But I went into the place, and I did the French fry thing, and it just hit. But that's like in life. Sometimes you do. I thought it was like a
Okay, so we've got so this is the photo that they are sharing around, saying somebody specifically had the tweet that was like, boom, conversation over, Dunzo. Oh my God, you have no idea what's going on. But then, people were doing some searching and some looking and seeing what's good. Ooh, should I do? We got a 9-second TikTok. Let's do a 9-second TikTok instead. Oh, for fuck's sake. I guess not. No, it's not gonna give it to me. Fuck you. Well, we got this. Play. What are we doing here? Jesus Christ. Ruining everything. Why is this not working? Okay. Well, anyway, that was the original photo, and side by side here, we have the original photo. Some girl from some tiny ass little some tiny ass little not like vlog, but a death certificate type of thing. This girl who worked at McDonald's at whatever point. This picture was posted on the not the obituary, but that type of thing. That she died and she did this. She worked at McDonald's. They took that picture and they photoshopped Kamala's face onto it. Whoopsie! Yep. Well, I don't know if she. I don't know. I don't know for sure if she claims this picture, but she sure as shit claims that she worked at McDonald's. So the thought process of using a dead woman in such a polarizing and popular topic.
haram.
Yeah. So again, I wish I should fucking say this shit. God damn it. Let's see it because this is important enough. Here, actually, let's do this. I'm gonna go back to the video and I'll see if I can find. I'm gonna see if I can find the video where they found the actual original shit. No. Have faith in TikTok.
Place, and I did the French fry thing, and it just hit. But that's like in life. Sometimes you do. I thought it was like a quick throwaway. We're going to be there for 15 minutes. Then I said, I've worked here for 15 minutes, which is 15 minutes more than she worked here. She lied about McDonald's. And
proven that she never worked at
100%.
McDonald's?
McDonald's has no information. No, she has no information. There's nobody. The manager said she never worked there. You know, it was a certain place, and he said they never. No, she lied. She's a liar. You know what they do? They'll say, like, on any one of the questions, they'll say it's the exact opposite of what I say. IVF. He's against IVF, fertilization.
Right.
And it's the exact opposite. I came out immediately strongly in favor. And they do ads. I'm against it. It's wrong. On every single topic. And, you know, she changed policies on 15. I've never seen anybody change on more than one. You know, you can maybe get away with one. Her whole life, fracking, every single thing that she was for, the confiscation of guns. She wants to confiscate. Now she's saying everybody should have a gun. In fact, we're going to get her a mega cap. I'm going to send her a mega cap. But she's changed, and I don't think people are buying it.
Well, some people are buying it because they want to buy it because it's blue no matter who. There's a certain
Blue
percentage of our
no
population that's
matter
going to vote
who.
Democrat no matter what.
That's
And
true.
They're pressured. There's their community, their ideology. It's
You know,
red
I
is
don't
good,
understand.
right is evil.
I don't understand why. Okay,
Oh,
you have
no.
a wall, or you have I built 570 miles of wall. Everyone said I built a lot of wall, exactly the stuff. But you have a border. What I don't understand is who would want people to come into our country from places unknown, like sometimes they'll say about a fighter, from parts unknown, right? Remember Haystacks Calhoun, from parts, from parts unknown, the old.
I can't find it. It's I'm scrolling through. I don't see it. But yeah, there was somebody who I saw them. They had everything on the screen, and they showed the searches. They did the reverse image search. They found the original page, and it was some woman who had died. Let's give it 2 more seconds. Let's see if we can find it. Come on, baby. We're going back now. I don't think this is it. No, I don't think it's there. But so I mean, you know, that information could have been fake. Sure, that information could have been fake. Never trust anything on the internet. But that's what they said. I saw them find it. Yeah, it's not here. I don't know. Okay, one more scroll. Let's see if we can find it. No, not there. And then speaking of that Dean guy, this is who we're talking about, right? That's who we were talking about before, who was on Timcast, right? Oh, we got from Snopes. Thank you, Am. Where are we? Boom. Thank you, Am. Said fake photo shows Harris in McDonald's uniform. The image turned up on social media amid political kerfuffle over VP Kamala's claim that she once worked at McDonald's. Fake. Fuck you. And late October 24. Here's Kamala in a McDonald's uniform. Is it though? The photo grabbed the internet's attention thanks to an ongoing partisan dispute over. Really? They're not gonna. Okay, there we go. The veracity of Harris's repeated claim that she worked at McDonald's restaurant when she was a student. While there was no compelling reason to suppose she lied about it, except for the fact that she's Kamala Harris, a lack of corroborating evidence encouraged Republican opponent, former Donald Trump, and his supporters to claim Harris made her story up about working at McDonald's. The sudden appearance of the photograph was too serendipitous to be coincidental, of course. It was a fake! A composite created by digitally editing an existing snapshot to replace the original subject's face with that of Harris, or someone resembling Harris. We located the original unmanipulated video via reverse image search on TinyEye. The original image appears on a website dedicated to a family's personal photos. The name of the young woman in the pic was Suzanne Bariner. According to the caption, she was a shift manager at McDonald's, and though there was no date listed, the snapshot appears to have been taken in the early 80s. According to the website, she is now deceased, which is why the picture is there. So who doctored the image and unleashed it on social media? Some anti-Harris have claimed that the campaign came up with it. Case closed. Now the cold can rest. Oof. And what do we got here? Also from real pic of Harris's family that Trump shared. Trump surfaced a photo one day after he called into question Harris's identity, saying, "I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago." Well, looky here. Hello, thank you, come again. An old photo authentically depicts U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris in Indian family. True. Donald J. Trump, thank you, Kamala, for your nice picture you sent from many years ago. Your warmth, friendship, and love of your Indian heritage are very much appreciated. There you go. There you go. And we know that Snopes is not like on our side. So if they could in any way spin that, they would. But they can't. Thank you, Amp. All right, let's dive back.
Sometimes they'll say about a fighter from parts unknown, right? Remember Haystack Calhoun from parts. He says from parts unknown. The oldest. Those are the oldest. That's even before.
Shout out to Anthony Bourdain
for you. But who would want people to come in pouring into our country? We don't know anything about it.
But I want to ask you this. Why do you think they're doing that?
I think because
do you think they're trying to buy votes? Do you think they just want cheap labor? Like what's the idea?
There's a couple of theories. They hate our country, they're stupid, or they want to buy votes. It's one of those three things.
Yeah.
They want it. Now they are trying to get people registered who, don't even know what the country is.
And they're trying to give people amnesty, people that live here, they're trying to give them
amnesty, they want to give them citizenship, and they want to. Well, how about what happened?
If you think about the amount of money that they've given them when they've come here, the food stamps, the benefits that even our poor people aren't getting.
$200 billion, and that's a way low number. That's a way low. It's interesting. New York has always been like, sort of like always looking for money. They've spent $100 billion on this stuff. I don't know where and they're not getting the money from the federal government. It's crazy. And because the mayor came out and said, we can't live like this.
They investigated him.
He gets by the way, I called it. I said, he just got himself indicted. This group is stupid, but they're vicious. They're stupid people, but they're vicious people.
The 2020 elections, you say you have all this evidence that it was rigged. Why haven't you put this evidence in a consumable form? In what?
Oh, I did. I have books on it. And by the way,
which books are those?
Have been written on it.
Such as?
We have an author named Hemingway, who is a great writer. She wrote a book on it, but many books have been written on it. There are books that are.
Okay, let's see. Hemingway, Trump. Rigged. How the media, big tech, and the Democrats seized our elections. Molly Hemingway. Interesting. All right, well. There it is. If anybody wants to purchase that, it's in the chat.
What's happened is judges don't want to touch it. They would say you don't have standing. They didn't rule on the merits. They ruled. The merits never got there. The judges didn't have what it took to turn over an election.
Let's talk about the potential vulnerabilities for.
They're either dumb or intentional. There are no options left. Yep. Context said supposedly it's possible conservatives posted the pic and false flagged it as Harris a supporter, not confirmed, of course. Very possible, but she still lied. So even if that's the case, then like the fact that everybody else jumped on it makes that irrelevant. Like that is when we talk about a false flag, it's typically to bank on something that either didn't happen or wasn't going to happen. She already lied. So if it was a false flag to put out a fake photo to then force people to look into it, I'm okay with that. Standing like QI is fake law. I do not know. I mean, I know what standing, but I don't know what that means.
Elections and election fraud. One of them is mail-in ballots. The other one is if someone can break into voting machines, if someone can hack voting machines. Those are two huge ones.
So Elon Musk, I think he said,
you guys all plan to mail in your ballots, and then on November 5th, you plan to go into the polling station to make sure, right? That's what you need to do.
Publicly, I hope he did, because I wouldn't want to be the one, but he's a really smart guy, and he's a very good guy with computers, right? You'd say he's
one of the smartest people alive.
Anybody that can land that 20-story building and perfect, and boom,
while he's doing Starlink, while he's talking to me, while he owns Twitter,
and then he agrees to Starlink,
and he tweets 100 times a day.
He's an amazing guy. Right?
Yeah,
he said to me that unless you have paper ballots, it can never be an honest election. That's a big statement.
It's a big statement.
We should go to paper ballots. France did. They went to mail-in voting, and it was all messed up.
What can
you know
be
the
done?
amazing thing with the machines? So we have the machines. They cost 10 times more. Paper ballot would cost 8%. And they make paper ballots, they're all watermarked and everything else. They're very sophisticated. But if you take a look, paper ballots,
Gotcha.
8% the cost.
Gotcha.
And you're done by 9 o'clock in the evening, right? Now we have these sophisticated machine. It goes up to heaven. It goes all over the place and down and around. And they say, we'll need 2 weeks to figure out who the hell won the election.
Do you think that's by design?
Yeah, I do.
Yup.
I think it's very quick. That's my opinion.
You're allowed to have an opinion. Let's say you win in November. What can be done to mitigate these problems? What could be done at at the level that the president has power?
Well, if I win, this will be my last election. But I think I owe it to the country. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I owe it to the country. We have
It could still be VP.
to have fair elections.
So how can you fix that?
You know, Jimmy Carter was in charge of a commission, that many years ago. And they put him and Scoop Jackson and various senators, distinguished people that were retired. And they came up with a report. And the report's primary finding was you cannot have mail-in ballots.
There we go. Jesus Christ. All right. Okay, 2 quick ones. 2 quick tic-tacs that we got to see. Yeah. So the first one was just because, it came up when I was looking for the other ones. But
reason why I know that we have stumbled upon the truth is because she is very nervous now to discuss her blockades. I'm going to show you her just yesterday in an interview. But first, I want to go back in memory lane because now they're trying to play the Men in Black hold up the little instrument and wipe our memory and pretend that she actually never ran on being black and that wasn't ever a thing. So I just want to
imagine they've gone from she like an Indian woman and convincing us that she's black, and now going back and convincing we never said she was black.
Make sure that I remind everyone that it was the thing. She didn't even say she was black. At once upon a time, 2006, she said she was African American. Like there is no African in this woman. Okay, Jamaican percentage at most, but in 2006, at the State of the Black Union, she became African. Take a listen.
It is morally incorrect, but nobody cares about that. You can look at Katrina. Nobody cares about the fact that we've got a bunch of young black and brown men in prison. That argument is not working. What I suggest we do as African Americans is own this issue in law enforcement and then define it in the way that works for us. Because it is a myth to say that African Americans don't want law enforcement. We do. We want.
Wait. Oh my God. Fuck. I know for a fact. I know for a fact, my friend, that you're not talking about this, right? Your dad, what was it? Your dad's, this is Democratic staffer, supposedly. Says your dad's a bitch at a child. So we have the staffer here, Harris, well, of course, young girl in a stroller, and daddy here. And what does she say? I don't give a fuck. Your dad's a fucking bitch. This what you're talking about, bro? I got it all.
It is a myth to say that African Americans don't want law enforcement. We do. We?
What you mean we? What you mean we, honey?
Because it is a myth to say that African Americans don't want law enforcement. We do. We want our grandmothers to be able to walk to church and be safe. We want our babies to be able
You better thank her, you mamba.
to walk to the park and be safe. What we don't want is racial profiling. What we don't want is excessive force. That's right. What we don't want is to have our civil liberties and civil rights be stripped, but we do want law enforcement.
Okay, Kamala, thus far you're like an Indian Canadian Jew, but we'll just go with that for a second. She's now freaking out when somebody, this journalist realizes, hey, you're no longer leaning into the historic nature of your campaign. Obviously, what this journalist meant was, weren't we all doing the you're the first black person running, and you are just going to watch Kamala filibuster this, and suddenly she don't want to talk. Take a listen to her being interviewed by Hallie Jackson for NBC News.
You've been reluctant to lean into, to talk about the historic nature of your candidacy on the campaign trail. Why is
The historic nature.
that? Well, I'm clearly a woman.
Hillary Clinton who? What do you mean?
To point that out to anyone. The point that most people really care about is, can you do the job? And do you have a plan to actually focus on them? I hear you on that. That is why I spend the majority of my time listening and then addressing the concerns, the challenges, the dreams, the ambitions, and the aspirations of the American people. They deserve to have a president who's focused on them as opposed to a Donald Trump who's constantly focused on himself. I think that's part of why people are exhausted with Donald Trump and his approach, because it's all about himself and his personal grievances and not about the American people.
I mean, you can just see the filibuster is strong, and credit to that.
So what I really wanted to show you really quick before we dive back in and finish this is exactly why you need to not only mail in your vote, you need to go to your mailbox. They have mailed you a ballot. Fill that ballot out and send it in. And then you go in to the polling place to make sure. They scan my ID. See, the system is showing that I've already voted. When I, in fact, have not. The math ain't mathin'. So you better make sure they are already trying to fuck you over. They are already trying to fuck you over. Yeah, I mean, that's the only language she knows. That's the only language she knows. All right, let's finish this up.
And they came up with a report. And the report's primary finding was you cannot have mail-in ballots, because if it's a mail-in ballot, I went to the voting booth the last time, whatever it was, and I walked in Palm Beach, and I walk in, and they know me. They say, Mr. President, could I see your identification? Yes, boom, here's this, here's that, everything. And then you sit and they watch you sign, and there's not a lot you can do. I mean, if you wanted to be dishonest, it's sort of beautiful.
Right.
If instead of that, I'm going to send them a ballot.
Right.
It has to go through the postal services. It has to go through a lot of people.
And we all know the postal service is top notch.
People, they mail you houses that, the house was demolished and the people have left. And it's so bad. The one thing with Jimmy Carter, he had a very strong commission. It was no mail-in ballots. And we're the only one that does elections this way anymore. They've gotten away from it.
And this is it ticked up in a big way after COVID. It used to be like soldiers serving overseas.
They used COVID to cheat.
Yeah. Well,
and you used to have to apply for that ballot. It was an absentee ballot, and you would have to say, "Hey, I'm not going to be around on election day, so can you please send me a ballot?" Instead of just everybody gets a ballot. You get a ballot. I get a ballot. We all get a ballot.
Well, they use COVID to certainly push this mail-in ballot. Another thing,
but they use COVID to cheat.
But here's another.
And the last election was a little bit of you couldn't even get security guys, big, strong guys to watch. You know what? You'd call them. They'd call them in this session. They were afraid to go out. We were in the middle of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the middle of COVID, right smack in the middle, and they didn't want to die. They didn't want to catch it. It was like, in a way,
it's almost like the propaganda worked. And so they used COVID for more than cheating. Bingo. You got that right.
It was like a ghost town.
Biggest transfer of wealth in American history from the people to the elite.
And the whole thing, but mail-in ballots are a bad thing.
That certainly is a problem. Mail-in ballots are a problem.
But every
Another
other country,
problem is voter ID.
Yeah, a voter ID.
Voter ID is the most bizarre argument that I've never seen anybody articulate in a way that's convincing.
Because
why
they
you
want to
don't
cheat.
need voter. Well, it doesn't make sense any other way. I've tried to straw man it, or I tried to steel man it rather. I've tried to look at it from a position like, why would you not want people to have ID?
That'll
and a lot of the ideas are just ridiculous.
Guys, one more time, really quick. I just gotta beg you, please just hit that share button again. It doesn't matter if you don't think anybody's gonna click on it. It doesn't matter. Just share it anyway, and it helps out so much.
You need an ID to get a driver's license.
Okay, but here's now the next step. Gavin Newsom, one of the worst governors in the world, and I used to get along, but I don't get along with him because he's just too, it's just a whole con job. But Gavin Newsom, the other day, signed a bill that you are not allowed to even ask them whether or not they have a voter ID.
Now, what could be a charitable reason why anybody would want to cheat? That would be
There is none. There is none. There is none. What would be the charitable interpretation of why you would want people to be able to murder other people? Because you want to murder other people.
The only thing that makes sense.
But that's taking it to the next level.
Right.
Now, you have ID. The Democrat National Convention, when they had it the last time I saw, they had a sign like a billboard or the name of the person, where they live, how they live, who the hell their
QR
boyfriends
code.
are. Every single, and a big picture. That's for they have an ID, a big ID. It was hanging like you were a prisoner. They had these massive cards, everything. And yet when it comes to the vote, in theory, the most important thing we do, okay, when you go to a grocery store, you give ID. But for a vote, it's supposed to be a sacred thing, and it is.
Notice how when I search DNC security ID, we get anything but. Anything but. And oh, that's it. Let's see what else they got. Anybody with I see the lanyard here, but I'm looking for the billboard. And I know it's there, but of course, Kamala don't have to wear one. Wild. Where are they? They are hiding it. That's not that big, but Google. Fuck you, Google. Fuck you.
It should be a sacred thing. No voter ID because they want to cheat.
Well, it doesn't make
shit. They want to cheat
sense in any other way. I've tried to look at
There's
it.
no other way.
There's no argument that anybody's presented that makes any sense. Why?
You know the funny thing, Joe? The Democrats, the people, they all think you should have it. In other words, you should have
Yeah.
it. If you go to the people, Mrs. Schwartz, Mrs. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Jones.
Sure.
They say, of course, yeah. Democrats, they say yes. It's the politicians that don't want it, like Schumer and these guys. They don't want it because they want to be able to cheat. Because you know what? If they didn't have it, okay, who is going to vote for somebody that wants open borders? Who's going to vote for somebody that wants to have men playing in women's sports? You know, I have never had one person come up to me and say, President, you got to do something to allow men to play in women's sports. Have you ever? Just like I've never been called by a pollster. I told you my little theory on pollsters. Okay? I'm getting myself in trouble with some of these.
Put one in the chat. If you have ever answered a political poll or talked to a pollster or have been involved in any type of information gathering for votes or anything politically related.
Things, but I don't really care. Nobody's ever come up to me and said, we want to have men playing women's sports. And, you know, I had a funny thing. At a property
we got one.
I own in California. I have a woman.
I now know one person
who's a very good athlete, and she works there as a manager. And Brian Urlacher, the big Chicago Bears, great player, you know, 10-time All-Star, I guess, Hall of Famer, great guy, big, strong guy. And she said, oh, he's one of my favorite athletes. Can I have a picture? And I took a picture and I sent it. And I noticed she was the size of his leg. His leg was bigger than she was. And I put it out. Should men play in women's sports? It was just so ridiculous.
What's one of the most bizarre and polarizing ideas that's promoted by the left?
But who wants it? Now, unless you're going to cheat in elections, you're never going to get, nobody wants it.
Right.
I don't think anybody wants it. I've been told everything. You know, some people want this. I don't know of anybody that wants open borders. Nobody's ever come up to me and said, President, you got to let the world come into our country.
Right.
I mean, you go to college campuses, I'm sure you find a lot of that. Guys, if you've not already hit the subscribe button, yes, I am live right now, but this is not my normal schedule. And if you are not subscribed, then you are not hearing this. So make sure, hit the subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. The replay is good, but it's just not quite as good as being right here. Am I right? I'm right.
Now, if they won, so they have 21 million, I think it's much higher than that because you have gotaways. You know, gotaways where they just walk in, they walk in. But and the other thing you have is human traffickers. You have traffickers, and they traffic in women, and they're going wild. Now, we used to, you know, we have to look the trunk of cars. Can you believe it? They put women in trunks. They'll put 3 women in a trunk. These people are savages. They're horrible. The worst people. And they're making the kind of money they make on drugs. They're almost making on trafficking now.
Democrat headline: Trump is racist again.
And the thing that's made it hot is the internet. That's what, you know, but you think of it almost as an ancient thing, but it's the internet. But who would want to have these things? Who would want to have, there's so many, the transgender operations where they're allowed to take your child when he goes to school and turn him into a male, to a female without parental consent. Who wants this? Does anybody want this? I've never heard of anyone, and I can go into 10 different things.
Oh, people want it. People want it. People want it. The overwhelming majority of people do not, but people definitely want it.
Things. The only way they get them is by no voter ID. You can't have voter ID. They don't want any. They want to cheat. There's only one reason, because the voter ID is so basic. It's the most basic thing.
It's very basic.
Who would want this?
You're a basic
They want
bitch.
it so they can cheat because their policies are no good. I'll tell you, they're very smart when it comes to that. They're very smart.
Hey, we got indie film. Welcome to the party. Said people want it for other kids. That's for sure. Yep. And yep, now we're all racist. We're all racist. Jesus Christ, I don't want to bite.
Although they're not smart in terms of politics in a way, because What do they have that people want? They really don't have. They give away a lot of healthcare, a lot of stuff, but for the most part, their policies are terrible. Their policy on military,
it's the mentality of not thinking beyond tomorrow. If you give me money right now, that's good for me right now. End of thought. End of thought. Give me more money because money is good right now. So more money is good, more good. End of thought. End of thought.
He's running on a tax hike. She's going to raise your taxes. You got to hear this. We are going.
Let's get one more little treat before we go.
To raise your taxes, and the people clap. But who is going to win with her? All my life, I grew up with politicians lower taxes. She's politicking that we are going to raise your taxes.
Well, they want to raise the idea is you want to raise the taxes to the highest earners.
I know, but it really doesn't work.
Tax the rich, pay their fair share.
Millionaires and billionaires are not paying their fair share.
But it doesn't work that way.
Well, it's a narrative, right? And it's a narrative that appeals to people that are not doing well.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, our problems are that these rich people are not paying taxes.
Well, the problems are the rich people are going to leave and they're going to close up their companies, and then the other people aren't going to have jobs. You know, that's what happens.
It does happen in other countries.
But the whole, because you brought it up, I'll tell you what, we just, he's doing a very good job in Virginia. Glenn Youngkin. I don't know if you like him, not like him.
I don't know him.
But you don't know the governor of Virginia. So we have a case where they found thousands of illegal ballots. A judge just ruled that they have to be able to vote. Just happened today. Just before I walked in here, I heard.
Wait, Youngkin said that, or a judge? Wait, what?
But you don't know the governor of Virginia. So we have a case where they found thousands of illegal ballots. A judge just ruled that they have to be able to vote. Just happened today. Just before I walked in here, I heard a judge just ruled that you have to keep those people in. They're illegal. They're illegal votes. Now, I think they'll be overturned at the next court. One thing I found, because I had a couple of things that they get over.
So what was that a Youngkin appointee? I'm not making the connection between that judge and Youngkin. No, I got that part. He brought up Glenn Youngkin, and then he's like, this judge said the thing. So what's the thing about Youngkin? Was it an appointee, or what does he have to do with that?
Returned a little bit, the system, because the system, you have to hope that the appellate judges are honest. Otherwise, we don't have a country anymore. Very important. But the whole thing with illegal ballots, it's got to be looked at. You have to have voter ID, and you have to have additional ID. You have to have an ID that shows that you're a citizen of the country.
I agree.
They don't want that either.
I agree.
So Youngkin, one of the person judges ruled against him. Okay. I think just the way that he said it, it made it seem like, oh, Youngkin, Glenn Youngkin, he's let this happen. That's the way it sounded.
One of the things that I want to talk to you about is the JFK files. And one of the things that you said was that if they showed you what they showed me, this was your quote, you wouldn't want people to know it either.
So
what does that mean?
I opened them up partially. I was met from good people. I mean,
I would assume somebody did, but honestly, I do not know.
Look, good people that were well-meaning. Mike Pompeo was one of them. He's a good person. They called me. They said, sir, would rather have you not. And I did open them, but I was asked by some people not to open them. There's a Martin Luther King file too, by the way, that they'd like to see. I don't know if you know, but there is that. But
I would like to see that.
But JFK in particular. So they called me. A lot of good people called me. People that that you would find reasonable people. And they asked me not to do it. So I said, well, we'll close it for another time. But if I win, I'm going to open them up. I'm just going to open enough.
Why didn't you open it up the first time?
Because a lot of times,
what was the hesitation? Though?
Addresses, people that are still living. There are people that are affected.
Is there any way that makes sense? If the government is not directly in charge of those things, could it be who
to do it? So I said, well, we'll close it for another time. But if I win, I'm going to open them up. I'm just going to open enough.
Why didn't you open it up the first time?
Because a lot of times,
what was the hesitation?
Addresses, people that are still living.
People that are still living that have relevance with JFK's death and MLK's death that are not prosecuted. That sounds like government officials. Am I reading too much into this? if there's people that are still living that are involved in this who have not been prosecuted for being involved in this, then it means that they were involved in this and nobody can know that they were involved in this. Or contractors? How? Contractors how? Because I'm looking to I don't want to be, jump immediately to the conspiracy. Okay, spouses. That makes that makes a little bit more sense. Where it's like, they were just married to these people and they died, and the wife, she didn't do anything. The spouse didn't do anything wrong. I don't know. That sounds like, hey, there's people that are still working in the government that killed JFK, so we can't tell them about it yet until they die. And so government uses a lot of contractors. That's how they avoid certain documentation issues. But what he's saying is that within the documents, there are addresses of people that are still living. So it's not an issue of documentation. The documents are there. That is the issue, that they are documented. That's what he's saying, is that the things are documented. So if they are documented, they need to keep this from the public for the benefit of those people. I mean, spouses make sense, but that is being as charitable as we can be.
Put them up. I'm just going to open enough.
Why didn't you open it up the first time?
Because a lot of times,
what was the hesitation?
Addresses, people that are still living. There are people that are affected. And
who hasn't shared the video yet? Share the fucking video. What the fuck?
There could be some national security reason that that I don't have to necessarily know about, but some very good, talented people asked me not to do it. I opened it up, and then they said, "Would it be possible for us to do that a different day?"
How much of it did you read into?
I think it's going to be just fine to open it. Let me put it that way. I think it's fine. It's going to be time.
That did not seem like deer in the headlights. That seemed like, what can I say here? That seemed like a very different reaction from, are you ever going to put this out?
Would it be possible for us to do that a different day?
How much of it did you read into?
That seems like thinking to me. That seems like thinking on it.
I think it's going to be just fine to open it. Let me put it that way. I think it's fine. It's going to be time. It's a cleansing. It's really a cleansing. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it immediately, almost immediately upon.
A cleansing? A cleansing of what, sir? A cleansing of people who have been in the government doing shady shit for decades?
On entering office.
Well, the thing, when people look at it from the outside and you sort of imagine what could be a reason why they would not release those files, it would be there's people that were implicated in the assassination.
Yeah. Well, when there are living people, you generally tend not to want to do it. When people are still living
people that formerly work for the government.
And living people that were somehow involved in it, and you tend not to do that. But it's time to open them. I can't tell you whether or not they're going to find anything of interest. And I did partially open. I think I've opened 50%, but I was asked not to do it. And I thought that was a reasonable ask, but now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it very soon. There's a lot of interest in it.
One of the things that
there's a lot of interest in
the
people coming from space,
Yes.
And I know you're interested in that.
Very interested in that. How much did they tell you about that?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd they tell you? How much can you tell?
So
how's that work? Is it like super top secret?
I can tell,
Tell me.
Well, based on Hunter Biden, I can say whatever the hell I want. But I interviewed a few people. It's never been my thing. I have to be honest. I have never been a believer. I have people that Area 51 or whatever it is. I think.
There you go. Shout out to Guam Tech for the share. Thank you, guys. It really, really, really does help. Yeah. Again, and it does not matter. I don't use Facebook. Who the fuck uses Facebook? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Once you've clicked the link, once you've done that, it tells YouTube, hey, somebody said they want other people to see this. So even if you don't have people that are going to click on the link, then YouTube's like, okay, well, let's show this to other people who might not people are going to click on the link. Thank you so much. Let's just get Morty one more treat before we head out.
Let's do
it. We can do it
in the
on
whole
the
country or something. Area 51 in Las Vegas. Do you know that, right?
Sure. I know what it is.
So anyway, but it's a big tourist site. So I
Storm Area 51.
interviewed jet pilots.
Put a 1 in the chat if you legitimately were thinking, if they do it, I'll go with the Storm in Area 51.
That say they saw something. if you saw them, you'd love to have them as
I've
your
had a
son.
couple in here. Commander David Fravor.
Yeah.
I had him in, who had that sighting in 2004. Very, very compelling with visual video evidence, radar evidence. Ryan Graves.
I don't believe his name, but I interviewed jet pilots that were solid people. Perfect. I mean, great pilots, great everything. And they said, we saw things, sir, that were very strange. Like a round ball, but it wasn't a comet or a meteor. It was.
I've seen exactly the same type of shit. Like, I am not somebody, you guys know me. I'm a skeptic. But there's times and situations where I just cannot explain, and I am open to the idea that things that are not yet explained can happen. I remember my senior year in high school. I was with a bunch of friends. We just drove to Jersey Shore. Late night, just go hang out and drink a couple beers on the beach. And so we're there, and then there's the fucking ocean, right? And we see over the sky something that, like, if this is the Earth, right there. The Earth is round. So if this was the Earth, it looked like something came from over here and then like hovered, and then the way that it moved in the sky, like it wouldn't make sense of it having to follow the atmosphere. It looked like it was way out, and the speed and the speed at which it moved and the rate at which the size, unless it was somebody flying a drone 10 feet in front of us that we just thought, oh, it's over the ocean, so it must be way out there. Again, I'm a skeptic. It could be. But I saw that shit, and it fucking flew away. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. That's what I've been told. Shout out to Damris. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. I'm hoping we can get to 100 views. We're at 98 views right now. I'm hoping we get to 100 in the last 12 minutes of this video. And guys, we are on the road to 5K. We are almost at 5K subscribers. Guys, if you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button.
That were very strange. Like a round ball, but it wasn't a comet or a meteor. It was something. And it was going 4 times faster than an F-22, which is a very fast plane, you know. And it was round.
Seen it.
Which is in theory a great shape.
So when you were
it's a great shape. Circles, balls, the best ever.
Talking to these people, was this something?
Oh, we're talking aliens, baby girl. We talking aliens. And so I think aliens exist, but I don't think that what we see and know is aliens. I think our government is manipulating us. Very possible. Very possible. But I don't know. It definitely statistically makes 0 sense that there would be no aliens out there. It also statistically doesn't necessarily make sense that they would ever reach us, or we'd be able to reach them. But I don't know. When we talk about things outside of what we know, the aliens is the thing that I would put the most money on. Of the thing that we don't know, but is probably real. Aliens are way above God on that one, for sure. Shout out to Funk Master General again. Oh my goodness. With 5 more gifted memberships. Thank you. So very, very much. And guys, of course, if you were gifted a membership, make sure you join that Discord community, guys. Being a member opens up the whole thing, including the after party. You do not want to miss that. Thank you so very much. And of course, out sponsoring your goddamn self. Thank you. Sadler said, where are the aliens? They're at the border. Yeah, I don't know. But that is, the common example is taking a Solo cup and scooping a part of the Pacific Ocean. Be like, well, there's no whales in here, so I guess whales don't exist. What? Like, that's not how that works. Shout out to Jay Long. Welcome to the party. So I'm stoked, and I just realized we're aliens. Yep. Indeed. Yeah, right. Stoked or stoned or stoked to be stoned. There you go. Welcome to the party. Context, I was throwing an end of the world party back in 2012. Went to grab some beers and saw 20 or more red orbs floating in the field a few miles out from the apartment. Had about 4 friends with me, and people were literally coming out of their apartments to witness it. My friend legitimately started to freak out until it eventually disappeared about 10 minutes later. Yep, that is very similar to what I've experienced and what we would expect to experience if there was some type of extraterrestrial life reaching us. So, we will see. Sasquatch said, I'll do you one better. Somewhere right now, an alien is wondering if you exist. Assuming that they exist, which I do assume that they exist. Shout out to Y2K, and if you were old enough to remember what the fuck Y2K was, I remember being in 4th grade and asking, so if the power goes out on 9/11, Jesus fucking Christ, if the power goes out on Y2K, are we gonna have to wait a whole year? Because remember, the whole thing was about computers and the numbers. Are we gonna have to wait a whole year? Are we gonna have to wait 11 years until it says 11? That was in 4th grade. That was my thought, that if Y2K actually happens, then we're going to either have 1 full year of no power, no internet, no anything, or 11 years. Why I didn't think about 10, I don't know. But that's what 4th graders think of. On to vote. Said aliens or super advanced military and or scientific testing. The world may never know. The world may never know. Shout out to Kate McKinnon. All right, let's finish this up here.
Which is in theory a great shape.
So when you were talking to these people, was this something that you were compelled to have conversations about? Was this your personal interest?
A little bit. It's not a great interest for me, but it's a little interest. I get that question as much as almost any question. Do you think that we have aliens coming, flying around or whatever?
What do you think?
There's no reason not to. I mean, there's no reason not to think that Mars and all these planets don't have life, because
that's that the way that he phrased that has just raised the level of respect for this man that I have. There's no reason to think that we shouldn't. There's no reason to think that is a I mean, it's not the articulation of brilliance by any means. But we're talking about American politics. So intelligence is not really there. But when you answer, what do you think about this? There's no reason to think that we don't have this, that, or the other. Not I think this, I think that. There is no reason to think that aliens wouldn't be out there. Maybe this is just me, but the way that you say that makes so much of a difference to show that you're not saying, I think there's aliens out there. I don't think there's aliens out there. If we take a look at the evidence, there's no reason to think that there are none. Doesn't mean I think that they're out there. It just means based on the evidence, there is nothing here disqualifying that reality. That is how intelligent people take on questions like this. Sizemore said most likely it's military or in most cases misidentified flying objects, like saying it's alien and it turns out to be a balloon or one of those flying lanterns. I mean, have you ever had one of those experiences where you see like what Gonzag was talking about here, and what I was talking about? Like, it's different. You can see that it's different. There is a difference. You have an understanding. You have a spatial understanding, and when you see this thing moving in the way that it moves, if you've been there, it's very obvious. It's just like, oh, that doesn't work like that. If that was a plane, if that was a balloon, if that was whatever, it would not move like that. I don't know how to explain it because people are just like, well, God. Well, it's just my little dig in there. But yeah, I don't know how to explain it. We're not there yet. But I guarantee you in 100 years, there would definitely be a way to explain the thing that I saw 12 years ago or whatever it was.
There's no reason not to. I mean, there's no reason not to think that Mars and all these planets don't have life, because
Mars, we've had probes there and rovers, and I don't think there's any life there.
Well, maybe it's life that we don't know, but
maybe there was life there at one point in time. This is the speculation about Mars, that Mars had an atmosphere at one point in time, a long time ago.
They definitely had water.
Could support life. It also had large bodies of water, but we've had no evidence of even bacterial life that exists on Mars. But
it's not been a big thing for me. I mean, when I looked at what China did to this, they would have never done it with me, where they put the balloon up. And a lot of people thought for a little while that was one of these things.
So that's a lot of the speculation too, that some of these drones that hover over battleships, that these are Chinese drones and that they're not UFOs.
They could be also.
There's some super sophisticated.
They did interview, let's say 3 or 4 guys.
I know for a fact that either what I saw was outside of the Earth's atmosphere or was made to make me think that it was from outside the Earth's atmosphere. That is what I know to be true. It either was outside of the Earth's atmosphere or it was something designed to make me think that it was outside the Earth's atmosphere. The way that it moved, it just does not make sense. Sizemore said, I believe aliens are out there, skeptical that they're here. Yeah, I agree. Great. And said, shit, I want to get abducted. I'd be so curious. I don't want to get chopped up. But she didn't mention anything about being probed.
Guys, and without tremendous interest, if you had them,
probe me, Daddy.
As I said, you'd love to have them as your children. Solid, beautiful people. They said, sir, there's something there.
There's something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to quite a few of
They're
them.
not conspiracy guys.
Well, I mean, just the Commander David Fravor thing in 2004 off the coast of San Diego, they clocked that thing going from 50,000 feet above sea level to 50 in a second.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is.
That's tough to beat.
Yeah, they
almost beat my drink.
They saw something in the water. It was hovering over that something that was making a disturbance in the water. They got video evidence of this thing. The 2 different fighter jets with pilots in them saw it. There's, visual evidence, photographic evidence, video evidence, radar evidence.
That's what I'm saying, man. If you know, if you've seen something along these lines, which I'm not expecting, or I'm not saying that if you, that it is the same thing I've seen, but if you've seen something like this, I've heard a lot of people talk about things like this. So it would be silly to think that there is absolutely nothing in the real world, in the material world, that is connected to this. That would be silly. It's just people want to go too far and be like, oh no, it's this. Just like with God. But you don't know. And that's okay. And just being like, hey, this is outside of the realm of things that I know and understand. Let's just keep it there. Just keep it there. And eventually, people will find out, or we won't. Pretending that it's something that it's not is not going to change the reality. Master General said, what if you knew they could put you back together? If you get chopped up? Yeah. Good. It's not really so much the being chopped up part. It's the chopping of the me. Like, you chop me up, I'm dead. I don't really give a shit. And once I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm not here anymore. I'm not religious. Once I'm dead, I'm just fucking flesh. But getting chopped up ain't gonna be fun. And said AZ has a lot of lights, Phoenix lights, or lights over Phoenix. Who knows?
Fighter jets with pilots in them saw it. There's, visual evidence, photographic evidence, video evidence, radar evidence, whatever the hell it is. It moves in a way that would turn a human being into jello.
Oh, really quick, while we are here, I know we've talked about it, either AMB and or Indie Film. If one of you could DM me, I forget who or what talked about having a thing for Daily Wire. Just if you could just let me know if you do. I know between the two of you, I think one of you has it. If we could talk about that for tomorrow's show, that would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Theory inside of it, the G-force, no one would survive.
Oh,
so like, what is that? And we don't. It doesn't have a heat signature. They don't know what their propulsion system was. But
when you fly in some of these jets, these pilots have to be in great shape.
Oh yeah, I flew with the Blue Angels once.
Yeah,
I got to fly. I guess
and those are older,
F/A-18.
and those are older machines,
and they're crazy.
When you fly in some of these things,
oh my God,
amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You got to be special.
But these things that these people are encountering are far superior to what we know of.
Yeah.
Is it possible that there's some military or government program?
Jesus Christ! Look what I just found. 30 Democrats versus 30 Republicans. I guess Jubilee has found their next thing. They're like, hey, this gets a lot of views. Let's just squeeze this
That
for
you weren't,
all
that they didn't tell you about.
I think I had a great relationship with the military, basically, but I didn't like certain people. I would have gotten them out if I thought if the election was different, I would have fired all of them quickly. Most of them I did fire. Biden should have fired every military person involved with Afghanistan. He should have had a lot of firings. If you look at him, he told Israel not to do anything, and at least Israel's not going to look at a bomb the way they would have been. Think if they listened to Biden, they'd be waiting for a bomb to drop on their head right now. He's been wrong about so much. I guess you'd have to say that she's been wrong too, because she always said they made the decision together. But Israel didn't follow his advice, and I think it was a very You know, the Middle East is rapidly changing. You know, there are prophets that say the world will come to an end in the Middle East. You know that, right? And we have weapons today that are so scary. When you look, I rebuilt them all. And when you look at the weapons we have today, the biggest threat we have in the world today is
Again, he's saying this is the old stuff.
Nuclear weapons. And we have other weapons too that are devastating. But the nuclear weapons, the biggest threat we have in the world today, and that's what I was talking about de-escalation with both China and Russia. I'm telling you, we were going to de-escalate. They were going to de-escalate. Got to be careful. It's a little tricky playing with them because they say we're going to do it and they don't do it maybe. But they understood the curse too. It's a curse. It's China's way behind us, but they'll catch us within 5 years.
So let's imagine, let's say you win in November. What do you do differently, and how do you change this course that it seems we are on for World War III? How do you get us out of Ukraine?
Please.
How do you stop what's going on in the Middle East? How do you put a stop to this?
Well,
all right. This is your big finale, bro. This is your big finale. I don't know if you can see the timeline here, but he's laying out. Okay, fix the world. How will you fix the world? What happened to my chat? What the hell happened here? Okay, that was weird. Okay. Yeah, just like, what's this about getting chopped up? And so I don't want to get chopped up at all. I just don't want to be apart and put that back together. I also do not want to get probed by aliens. Gross. I just want to see the technology on their spaceship. Nah, you want to get probed.
It's a very to me, it's an easy question because I think I can do it easily, but it's a complex question in the sense that the times change. Every day changes. Who's winning, who's not winning? I mean, Russia's a war machine. Whether you like it or not, it just grinds along. You speak to people like Viktor Orban, and he'll tell you it's just a big, fat war machine. And that's what's happening. You look at what's happened to Ukraine. If I were there, it would have never happened.
But what could you do now? If you get into office in January, what
could
you do now?
Hammer down, brother. Hammer down, brother. We know that Kamala has that word salad, but hold his feet to the fire. We need this. We need it.
Now, you would get both of them. I know both very well. And again, I do not want to tell you, for the purpose of looking smart to 5 people that say, oh, he was great, because if I told you exactly what I do, I could never make the deal. All I can tell you is that I would meet with Putin and I would meet with him, and I know exactly what I'd say to each one of them. And I believe that as president-elect, I would get that war stopped.
And here's the thing. I think all of us here probably believe him. But we already believed him before this. And that's what you're doing here. The people who are just not sure, the people who are willing to turn on a Joe Rogan podcast with Donald Trump. 90%. This is at 31 million views. 31 million views. And you're not. This is like the Kamala Wallace thing. Oh, people who know me know what's good. Well, I don't. So please articulate.
And stopped fast. We have tremendous power in the United States if you know how to use the power. I stopped other wars just by the use of tariffs. I got Macron of France. Good guy, like a friend of mine.
And his husband,
But he's a wise guy. And he's a person that likes France. And he was going to tax our companies. I sent all the smartest guys. I sent Mnuchin. They all failed me. And I said, I'll do it myself. And I called him. I said, Emmanuel, you're taxing American companies. We're not going to allow you to do that. Oh, Donald, I cannot do it. Nothing I can do. It's already been passed. I said, Emmanuel, if you do that, I'm going to put 100% tariff on your wines and champagnes that come into the United States.
I like me some champagne, bro.
And you're going to regret that you ever did it. He said, Donald, please, that's not fair. Anyway, within about 2 minutes, he dropped the whole thing.
That's
it was
not
massive
fair.
amounts of money against America.
That's the level of discourse that we're having with world leaders. Well, that's not fair.
In companies, I have to protect American companies.
So why doesn't the Biden administration do this?
Because they're incompetent. They don't know how to talk. Look, they met in Alaska with the Chinese, and the Chinese lectured them about how badly we treat people, right?
The Chinese lectured us about how badly we treat people. Okay.
I mean, think of it. You remember that? It was like they didn't talk to me that way. They respected me. They respected our country. They don't respect our country. They don't respect Biden.
Sure.
They don't respect her. They're dreaming about her
Mm-hmm.
because she's incompetent. She's not a smart person. Look, she can't put two sentences together. She talks. I watched her 2 nights. I watched her last night too. It was the same thing.
Yeah,
She's not a
booed.
smart person. These guys are very smart and they're very streetwise
save any
and
of
they're
those?
very tricky and evil and dangerous. And if she becomes the president of the United States, which I can't believe can happen, I don't think this country is going to make it. I don't think we'll ever be. I think bad, just really bad things will happen to our country. And you know what? I look at the outside forces and I say they can all be handled because we have a pot of gold. But we're not going to have that pot of gold to play with
Right.
anymore. You know, it's a great negotiating
I have a fun thing. As soon as this is done, it'll take a few seconds, but it's a fun thing. So stick around.
thing. I told you, I knocked out this massive car company going to take all of
Exactly. I'm like, what?
our car business from Detroit. I knocked it out just by my rhetoric. Rhetorically, I said, they'll never sell a car in here. I'll put tariffs. I don't care if they're 2,000%. They're never going to build that plant.
Is it possible to apply that same thing to the electronics that we use? One of the things that disturbs me greatly is that all of our phones are made overseas. And then some of our phones are made in places like... Yes, and the chips. And some of our phones are made in places like Foxconn, where they have nets around the building to keep people from jumping off the roof because they have so many suicides. Like, wouldn't it be better to have an American-made iPhone where, you know, people are paid good wages, they have health insurance, they're taken care of, they can live a good life, where you're not buying a piece of electronics that's cheaper because someone has to suffer in a horrible way that's not even legal in the United States. It's not even legal to have them work that way in the United States, so they get these people to build them overseas.
Yeah, but the left dude's like, well, yeah, but I'm not paying $30,000 on an iPhone. I only care as long as it doesn't affect me.
Do it, but let me just say, that chip deal is so bad. We put up billions of dollars for rich companies to come in and borrow the money and build chip
Of course, it's a bad deal.
companies here, and they're not going to give us the good companies anyway. All you had to do is charge them tariffs. If you would have put a tariff on the chips coming in, you would have been able to, just like the auto companies, no different, more sophisticated, but no different. You know, Taiwan, they stole our chip business. Okay. They want us to protect and they want protection. They don't pay us money for the protection, you know. The mob makes you pay money, right? But with these countries that we protect, I got hundreds of billions of dollars from NATO countries that were never paying us. And my biggest fan is Stoltenberg, who just left as the, you know, director general, as the secretary general. A good guy. He said, Bush came, he made a speech. Obama came, he made a speech. Trump came, he said, you guys aren't paying, you got to pay. And they said, will you protect us from Russia if we don't? I said, no, you got to pay. If you don't pay, billions of dollars came in to NATO.
No.
When I see us paying a lot of money to have people build chip, that's not the way. You didn't have to put up 10 cents. You could have done it with a series of tariffs. In other words, you tariff it so high that they will come and build their chip companies for nothing. In other words, Joe, you put a big tariff on the chips coming in. I say, you don't have to pay the tariff. All you have to do is build your plant in the United States. We didn't have to give them the money to build a plant. Besides that, they're very rich companies. These chip companies, they stole 95% of our business. It's in Taiwan right now. They do a great job, but that's only because we have stupid politicians. We lost the chip business, and now we think we're going to pay. You can't build it that way. You have to make them spend their money in the United States, and those plants would open up all over, and they'll fund them. We don't have to put up 10 cents. And I am in the process.
He likes that line, the 10 cents.
Making a huge speech in about a little while.
Yeah.
How long have we been talking?
A long time.
Let's go.
Probably like 3 hours.
I got to make a speech.
Right.
But we'll do it again. I want to do it again with you.
Okay.
You are something.
I love it. He's like, I've said everything I've got to say. All right, how long are we doing this? I'm done. Let's get the fuck out. We just did it. Joe Rogan and Donald motherfucking John Trump. 45, 47, let's go, MAGA. Goddamn, that just happened. So before we go, let's take a look at some of the comments. Let's see what people were saying about this. So if we look at the top comments here. Oh, God damn it. Top comments, 400,000 comments. And so podcasts are officially more important than traditional media now. 3 hours unedited. This is what we should expect for journalism. This will be the most viewed podcast in the entire, it already is. There's never been another politician sit down for 3 hours of conversation. Joe's so serious about this, he had to wear his black UFC commentary shirt. In 1 hour, this episode has, 1 hour from posting, this episode has more views than CNBC, CBS, and ABC combined. This should be mandatory. Agreed. What else we got here? The final boss of podcast meets the final boss of guests. I like that one. unedited, uncensored, all of that stuff. Exactly, guys. And I mean, even if that was not maybe the most the best experience that we ever could have gotten, the fact that he did it demonstrates that he is better than Kamala Harris. That is what just happened. That's it. So I want to try this. We're putting that to the side. That is done. I want to try this fun little thing really quick. I just saw it. I wanted to save it with you, or save it and share it with you guys. It's just a little aside thing. And do you guys remember the mosquito fucking ringtone? When we were in, depending on how old you are, middle school, high school, right around that age, where they had a ringtone where it would play a very high pitched tone that the adults and teachers couldn't hear, but you could hear it. They have a little thing with here. So let's see what everybody's hearing age is. There's a fun little nightcap.
We're going to test how old your ears are. As you age, you lose the ability to hear.
So if you're listening on your phone and once you lose the ability to hear it, put the phone up to your ear, because it's really about what your ears can gather.
Hear high frequencies. So take this hearing test, and when you stop hearing the sound, I want you to pause the video. And this number right here is the age of your ears.
So I mean, obviously, there's not enough, not a quick enough thing for you guys to be able to tell me when, when to pause, but just take a general idea of what your hearing age is. So if you've stopped hearing, this is what 83-year-olds, 80-year-olds. It's getting higher. And you can kind of feel it after you can hear it. It's like, I can't hear it, but I can feel it. Gone. 55, 50, 56, 57, right around there. See, I can still feel it, though. I apologize to the dogs. Damn. I bet there's nobody who can hear that shit anymore. Hey, we got Trey Williams said 46. Welcome. Around 66. Yeah. It actually, I was able to hear it much clearer through the phone. These are, I mean, not super high quality headphones, but they're, pretty solid headphones. And I could hear it way better when I would put the actual thing up to my ear from my phone. What that says, I don't know, but it was right around that same age. And so turn down your music, children. Your ears are getting old. There you go. Hey, Carl, right on point at 47. There you go. Just a little fun thing to close out this chapter of JRE, Trump JRE. We did it. We've done it. And it's out there. At this point, all we have left is for people to go out and vote. That is all that we have to do. That is all we can do at this point. That is it. So before we go, of course, we need to shout out all of our donations. We had Carl's Frosted Tips starting us off. And Ed's Funhouse coming in with the super sticker. Thank you. Of course, Water Ice with the $4.99. Thank you. We had Zippy DSM Lee with the Rumble Rand. We had Unwanted Foe coming in hot with that $10 super chat. And of course, as always, our boy, Funk Master General. Not only the $20 super chat, but 5 gifted memberships. And guys, if you were gifted a membership, make sure you head over to the Discord. That is where you want to be. That is where it's going down. That is where we are building something big, guys. We are building. And like I said, we are so very close, so much closer to the beginning than to the end. This is not going anywhere. We are only going to grow. We are only going to get better. Thank you so very, very, very much for hanging out with me, guys. You guys know I really do appreciate it. But just in case, let me tell you one more time. If you are here, if you are chatting, if you are part of the community, if you are a member, if you are donating, any of those things and all of those things, I appreciate it to no end. And you know this motherfucker. He loves that. Look at that. Look at that head perk up. Look at that head perk up. Let's give him a little bit of that. There we go. Thank you guys so very, very much. I really do appreciate it. Once again, guys, this is Morty. I have been your host, Lutch, a.k.a. the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, am I racist or JD Vance on Tim Dillon? We'll figure it out. But either way, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, I will see you then. Until then, we are out of here. Peace.